Hello, everyone. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you. We are back on another Monday evening for another classic episode of the series Lost in Space. I'm excited. Um, I don't want to give away too much spoilers. I know we'll each be giving our review in a few minutes, but I will say I'm happy to see this episode without revealing too much. But first, I wanted to say hello to my fellow panelists. Stone Racket, how are you doing tonight?
Doing just fine. It's great to be here, and this is my favorite episode from the second season.
Oh, all right, then you came along
Oh,
just at the right
wow.
time.
Yes, indeed.
And how about you, Antiderivative Jill? How are you doing tonight?
Wonderful. I haven't seen the whole season yet, but this is a pretty good one. I enjoyed it, and I know that Lost in Space is fun and silly, but I do like when there's a little bit of seriousness, and this brings a bit of it.
I completely agree. Yes, and it actually we'll delve into this a little later, but it actually does explain a lot of the change that we have seen in the Smith character since the beginning of the show. PvP, how are you doing? Pleasant Valley Picker CA, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Can't complain. I was actually very happy to watch this episode when I watched it last night because after the last few, which were a little less than entertaining, I'll try to be polite about it. This one was actually pretty enjoyable. I liked this one quite a bit.
It's nice because I mean it does classify as what they call a clip episode,
Mm.
and the order came in from up above that they wanted to shoot in 5 days. So
Ah,
they came up with the original idea that they wanted to have an episode where they could use clips from previous episodes, and this is the idea they came up with. And I think it was great. Usually, clip episodes tended to be relatively bad, but I think this one holds up fairly well, in my opinion.
yeah.
That is.
Clip episodes can be dreadful. I agree there, Pop.
Yeah, they did a great job for doing something that they wanted to be under budget, on time, and just within 5 days. And it's interesting that the clips that they showed were uh, from the first two episodes from the first season, and they were two episodes that CBS did not repeat. So that helped quite a bit as far as the viewers back then.
That's true.
There
Yeah,
were
I think
clips
Yes.
from some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
indeed.
it was a very good idea because to take clips from season one, because I think probably some people, of course, hadn't seen season one, and of course back then there was no way to watch season one, so some people that just joined when it started in color in season two got a little bit of a backstory on some of the season one stuff. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch, actually.
Yeah, I agree. It was.
Mhm.
And I wanted to say hello. Get caught up here really quick before we get too far behind to the wonderful people in the chat. So, hello, everybody in the chat. So good to see you. It looks like Stone Racket was the first one. Two words that I do not want to hear tonight: saran wrap. I'll scream if I do hear them. I'll scream like my favorite. Like
Well,
there's
but
a
it is
reference.
plastic wrap.
Right. Well, or right. Yes, we will say or cling wrap. Cling, I
Yeah,
guess,
it
is
was
the generic term.
it was pretty hard to avoid noticing that, wasn't it?
But it was very well done.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, it shimmered like plastic wrap. It moved like plastic wrap, but remember, it's alien plastic
Yes,
wrap.
yes, an alien force field.
An alien force field. Very
Very
dangerous.
dangerous.
Very dangerous. Stone Racket says, "Greetings, everyone. I love this episode. So, no grumpy cat stuff tonight. Very cool." Ola Greg says, "Cheers. Hello, Ola Greg. So good to see you." Stone Racket says, "Attention, attention. By order of the Galaxy Tribunal of Justice, you are hereby notified that charges have been brought against you for crimes committed in space." Stone Racket, you know what? Think about this. If there was a real Galaxy Tribunal, we're already guilty. I mean, look at all the junk we left up there on the Earth, right, and on the Moon, and I mean all the litter and garbage outside in the orbit of the Earth.
It's
Oh
just
yeah.
it's a mess up there. I mean, we all saw Gravity. It's dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the Robinsons get in trouble for just a wrench, we're screwed.
Yeah, we are
Yes, right.
not just a wrench, a contaminated wrench.
Contaminated wrench,
Oh dear.
which does make sense because it could be contaminated to a different race of beings. You know, who knows what kind of germs we have on it compared to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't a cosmic wrench. I was relieved about that.
That's true. And it looks like Dawn was happy just to get it back.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that was great. It wasn't there wasn't a follow through. I wanted I wanted them to show Don back in camp holding the wrench. You
Yeah,
know,
glad to have it back. Thank
glad to
you.
have it back.
Storm Rocket says pop culture curator Gorilla PvP and Antiderivative Jill. These persons are to hold themselves in readiness to testify before the tribunal. Well, we are ready to go.
Yes.
And PvP says LOL. PvP also says I will definitely be testifying with the rest of the panel tonight. Absolutely, I can't wait. Storm Rocket says PvP, do not laugh at the Galaxy Tribunal of Justice. The penalty for mocking the tribunal is 5 years in prison on the planet Dolphin.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
goodness.
like the dialogue in this episode. It's pretty obvious, huh?
It was hilarious. I did like it, right? It's like Jill said, it's good to get a little seriousness back in the one of the
Yeah.
episodes again.
It's an excellent balance of humor and seriousness, and the humor. I'd say 99% of it worked totally.
I completely agree, and we got a little more of the robot. He's
Yeah.
becoming more and more human. It seems like all the time.
Yeah,
Right?
the robot is incredibly great in this episode.
Daniel's Hot Topic says, "Hi, bro. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying warm." Stone Rocket says, "My cat Harpo says meow to all of you." And hello, Jim. Jim says, "Hail, everyone."
Hey.
And Suzanne, hello, Suzanne. She says, "Hello, Pop."
Hey,
Hello,
Suzanne.
Jim. And she says, "PvP, hello, dear."
Hello.
And Daniel, hello as well. And she also says hello to Stone Rocket. And Jim says, "Hi, Suzanne." And Suzanne says, "Hello, dear lady." And Suzanne also says, "Hola, Greg, hello." And Jim's Landscape says, "Hail, Stone Rocket." And there's me saying hello to everybody. Suzanne says, "Gorilla, hello." And Stone Rocket says, "Pop culture curator and Jim, good evening." And Daniel says, "Blast off." And Gorilla says, "Be there when I can. Wi-Fi acting up." Gotcha,
Oh.
Gorilla.
Oh gosh.
Good luck with that. We
Oh,
miss
dear.
you. Look forward to when you can make it.
Technical difficulties beyond his control.
Yeah, I
That's
hate it when the
right.
internet starts acting up like that. It's
Yeah.
not fun.
Suzanne says, "Wonderful intro, Pop." Oh, thank you, Suzanne.
Yeah, that rocked. That totally rocked.
Yeah, you know what? I created that intro when I first created my channel. I used to use
Excellent.
it back with my live streams, and I kind of forgot about it. It was kind of pushed off to the side, but I thought, well, I'll use it again.
And speaking of intros, I just love your intro to your Lost in Space. Well, I liked all your intros; they're excellent. And
Oh,
did you do this yourself, or did you have some help, or
I did it.
Yeah, excellent. I love the Jupiter 2 with the three of you in the window. It's great.
Well, production note for my TOS shows he's done that one too.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I love that. I love all of that.
I'm still not sure.
Don't change it, please.
Oh, thanks. I try to get it to match the theme of whatever our stream is about without getting a copyright strike. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how I feel about being put in the Dr. Smith role, though, as a special guest star every week.
Well, they couldn't fit you in the window. There's
Oh,
only
yeah.
That's
three,
right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
three
No,
three frames there, and so
I actually find it very amusing, actually, so I'm good with it.
yeah.
Now remember, there's actually a reason for that because when I was assembling that intro together, I had everybody's avatars except for PvP's. He didn't have an avatar yet, and I finally got his at the last minute. So he became a special guest star.
It all
Yeah,
worked out.
his avatar flies through space. It's cool.
Yes, that's the rock and roll avatar. That's when it was first
Yeah.
introduced, and he's been
Mm.
using it ever since.
Yeah.
And Suzanne says, "Jill, hail."
Hello.
And Daniel says, "Danger, Will Robinson, danger." And Ola Greg says, "Giant spider greetings." Yes, Ola Greg, I think you will not be disappointed tonight.
Really
Yeah.
do make good use of that spider.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes, they
ask you
do.
about that, Jill. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Brackett.
I was going to ask you about that, Jill. Did it upset you seeing that giant spider again?
What? Why would it upset me?
Well,
I liked it because I
as
like
a
seeing recurring things.
you're a first-time viewer, and I just, I'm sensitive to that, and I just want to make sure that
I've seen the seaweed monster like 5 times
Uh-huh.
now. So
yeah, I just, I don't want you to be, upset or disturbed by these scary images, and I sorry, I can't keep a straight face.
Well, plus that spider makes a special
Well-
guest appearance on
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the
they got a
spider
lot
was
of
very polite. It didn't leave its webbing all over the place this time.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
They got a lot of mileage out of the spider, so that's kind of
yeah.
fun.
I love those glowing red eyes.
Oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of cool creatures in this episode, but
Yep.
I guess I shouldn't spoil it.
I think there's quite a few that made their appearance in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Oh,
Probably.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the seaweed monster that Jill referred to was seen, if I remember right, seen underwater in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Yeah, it captures the flying sub.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually my Viewmaster of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea is that specific episode.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I used
Did
to have
you-
that, I think, somewhere, actually, when I had my Viewmaster years ago.
Yeah.
The 3D effect of those were pretty amazing. I
Oh, they were
remember
cool.
those.
Yeah, I actually had a friend over in junior high school. So, someone that's old enough to know better. And I was showing him my Viewmaster of Dark Shadows.
Oh.
And he was
cool.
looking at that. His name was Mike, and he was looking at that, and he goes, "Boy, this is so cool. Wouldn't it be great if we could see, like this in 3D?"
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned.
And I'm like,
that.
Yeah, we already do, Mike.
So glad that you mentioned reoccurring monsters as part
Yeah.
of the jury. I think that's kind of a implication that all this time they've always been sentient or sapient. If they're on this jury, they have to have reasoning skills, and so the Robinsons just haven't been very good at talking to the aliens this
Yeah.
entire time.
Now, did you notice the alien from the Ghost Planet? Did you take note of that?
Ghost Planet.
Yeah,
It was-
the head robot brain.
Yeah, the head. Yeah, the brain. I
Oh,
was going to
that
say
was
this.
there. I missed it.
Yeah, the spiny
love
brain.
Yeah, I
That's
remember
one of
when
my
we-
favorite creatures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when we watched that episode, PBP said that's a pretty nice prop, and I said you'll see it again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jim says hi, Ola Greg and Gorilla. Ola Greg says Earth space garbage sells for big bucks on Galactic eBay.
Yeah, everybody in the chat.
And there's hello, Gorilla.
Hello.
Hello,
There's
Gorilla.
some
Hi,
there's
Gorilla.
some links. There's some links that Suzanne dropped. I appreciate that, Suzanne. Ola Greg says hello, Sir Jim. And Gorilla says automatic, yeah, because it's a clip show.
No.
It is a clip show, but it does it in a clever way that
Yeah, and
keeps
it's
up the
not
storyline.
it's not overly dominated by the clips either, and it's very well integrated.
Yeah, the clips are actually, sparingly used through the episode, which is not bad. Because I think of a clip show, I think of something like Shades of Grey from Next Generation, which I
Yeah, you're
absolutely hate.
thinking the very last. That's exactly the same episode I was thinking of. The last episode of season 2.
Oh, it was horrible.
TNG. It was a terrible way to leave Dr. Pulaski.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, very bad episode.
Jim says, hi, Pop, Stone Rocket, and PBP, and Jill.
Hey, Jim.
Lemon Pie. Hello, Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie
Yay,
says, hey,
lemon
Pop.
pie.
Hey,
It's
Lemon.
so good to see you, Lemon. Daniel says, today is Monday, January 29, 2024. Section 31 was supposed to start filming today. Oh, really? I was scouring the net all day today for some info or some bid, but so far nothing. I hope it wasn't canceled. Well, don't hold your breath, Daniel. In my opinion, Daniel, I mean, no offense. I know there's people that are fans, but Michelle Kwan or whatever her name is, I think she's way above it. I don't think she should lower herself to be on Star Trek.
Don't worry,
Michelle-
Daniel
Michelle
is the
Yeoh.
only fan.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
Thank
Michelle
you.
Yeoh.
She was already on Discovery.
She just got that. Well, that was prior, but I'm saying she used to be a big time actress, and then she kind of went into the has-been territory, and that's why she was on Discovery.
I don't think she's ever become a has-been. She's been acting and continuing to do stuff over the years, so I
Well,
don't
she
think
did,
she's
but
quite fallen, really.
Well, yes, and thank you. I must correct myself. I meant basically, for example, when she did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that was a movie star, a movie actress, and then she, let's say, delved into television.
Gotcha.
Well, I think it's more the quality of the shows she's chosen to be connected with are the problem, because I mean, when you talk about Discovery, it's like, oh, please don't mention Discovery.
And when I saw her doing Discovery,
Well,
I
that's
was
the
afraid.
problem.
Yeah, I was afraid it was going to damage her career. But
That's the problem, because
after
she's a great actress. It's just, that's a bad show.
it's a bad show, and they need to be careful because it can tarnish their career. But the highlight and the good news is that she won an Academy Award for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that proved that once again, she's a top billing actress and she can actually do it. And I think, in my opinion, she needs to stay, in my opinion, far away from television, especially anything related to Paramount.
Yeah. Now, she was, speaking of Michelle Yeoh, she's the best thing about Tomorrow Never Dies, which is the second Pierce Brosnan Bond film.
I agree, she was good in that.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why someone that's done so many quality films decides to go into TV and work on, shall I say, less than quality TV shows. Like it's kind of confusing. I mean, does she need the money that bad? Or,
that's what I'm guessing. Paying the bills, yeah.
Yeah.
Ola Greg says the robot is the most human in the series. That's possible. I would not disagree with that. Lemon Pie says, hey, Stone Racket, BBP, and Jill. Daniel says, hello, Suzanne. And Lemon Pie says, hey, chat. And Suzanne says, Lemon Pie, hiya. And Lemon Pie says, Suzanne. And good. Stream Elements. Somebody was asking me, they texted me the other day, asked me if my Stream Elements bot was working, and it looks like it is. So if you're out there, whoever asked me that, it looks like it is working. And as a reminder, everybody, if you have a channel you want to promote and you want me to include it in my Stream Elements bot to promote your channel, feel free to hit me up on YouTube. Not YouTube. Well, YouTube, if you want, you can message me in the community tab, or on Twitter, formerly known as X, or whatever it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. You can message me, and I will add you to my Stream Elements bot. Because if you're going to spend the time to come to my channel and join us and interact with us, then I definitely want to promote your channel. Ola Greg says Gorilla is punching buttons and flipping switches on his computer. Picture early Trek. My favorite
More
trick,
like punching the screen, but
punching the screen. Whatever it takes to get that Wi-Fi working, I guess. Oh yeah, excuse me and pardon me, Gorilla. How are you doing tonight, other than your Wi-Fi issue?
it's been a long day. I'm ready to head over to Detroit and punch the engineer who designed my car.
Oh no.
Oh, I saw your post about the. So you had to remove the tire to get to the headlight or the battery. What exactly was that?
I'll have to remove in order to get the headlight, either I'm going to have to take the air dam, the air filter, and maybe even move the electrical box to get at the headlight, or I got to remove the tire and remove the plastic covering behind the tire out
Yes.
and come up from behind and underneath.
That's crazy.
Jeez. That's a Chrysler,
Wow.
right?
That's unreal.
If I'm going to replace the battery, I got to take the wheel off too, because that's buried inside the bumper.
That's nuts.
Instead of sitting right on top like a normal person would put it.
Well, my battery's in my trunk.
That's
So
a
yeah, you never
strange
know,
place
huh?
for a battery. Wow, I never heard of that.
Well, I've seen multiple vehicles within the trunk. It's easy access. You can still access it there. Versus, then I was talking to one of the guys at the Cub Scouts thing. In order to remove a starter to replace it, he almost had to lift the engine out of the vehicle just so because of a bracket thing.
Wow,
See,
Oh,
that's the
brother.
issue with my car.
that's insane.
Right, I have a Prius, and it needs a head gasket, but that's the problem. That's why it's so expensive. I've got to take apart the whole damn engine to get just to the head gasket. So it's one of those deals where okay, well, since I'm gonna pull the whole engine out, might as well do the head gasket, the water pump, the timing
Oh
uh,
my.
belt, the thermostat,
Wow.
a whole list of stuff.
That's unreal.
Yeah,
See, I got my 33-year-old Chrysler still running, and I've had the battery changed a couple of times probably over the last 9 years, when the battery died. And I've had like headlight, bulbs replaced in my headlights, and they never had to take nothing apart like that. It was just like,
no,
you know,
that's an older Chrysler. Gorilla, your car is a Chrysler, right?
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, so even Chrysler is,
they must have changed. Yeah.
all the modern cars. Well, I had the mistake, or shall I say misfortune, of owning a PT Cruiser a few years, and those are
Hmm.
garbage. Plastic engine, everything was plastic. If that thing overheated,
Oh,
everything would melt. So you get a car that overheats, and you end up replacing almost half of your electrical system. That is garbage.
ouch. Yeah, I'm quite happy with my old beast, even as though it's 33 years old, it still runs like a charm, and I'm gonna drive it till it passes away.
Yeah,
One day.
I would give anything to have like a 65 Chevy or something like that. And you could stand inside the engine well and work on the thing. There was so much room in those cars.
Yeah, and back then you just need like a wrench and a screwdriver or something, right? Like,
Exactly.
I actually
Jim
had a
says,
friend that was a mechanic that worked at a garage for a few years, doing
uh-huh.
mechanical stuff, and he said the exact same thing about a lot of cars. It's just nuts how you got to take half the car apart to change some simple thing. And he used to complain about it no end to me. And then he finally just quit being a mechanic and went on and got a different job. I guess he got so fed up
Well,
after a while.
you think that would be lucrative for mechanics?
Well, he actually worked at his dad's garage, like his dad owned the garage. So I guess, he was just helping his dad out
Oh,
until,
okay.
and he moved away to another city and, he got into another line of work. So, but yeah,
Gotcha.
he used to complain endlessly about how terrible it was. Some of these cars you had to try and fix something on, it would just take hours like of unnecessary labor. Well, maybe that's the idea. Maybe they want to add to the labor charges. Some of these companies, I don't know.
That's exactly what and they want to make sure you don't do it yourself. Like
That too.
Gorillas is a pretty example. That headlight that he's talking about probably is under $10. But look at all the crap you've got to take out just to get to it.
Yeah, you probably spend hundreds of dollars on labor costs, right? By the time
Yes,
you get it done.
yes.
No.
With my that's problem my Prius. We're talking $4,000 or $5,000 with labor
Oh my.
for
Oh,
a head
wow.
gasket.
That's scary.
It is, but that's why it's
Wow.
a major undertaking, and for me, that's why it's taken me a while to save for it,
Gosh.
unfortunately. But it's a good car, and I
Yeah.
don't want to get rid of it because it's hard to get a good car now.
Yeah, true.
Jim's Landscaping
Mhm.
says, I got 6 Star Trek fan films ready for launch, but I release 1 fan film a month. That's a good idea, Jim. That way you keep everybody interested in coming back for more. Linda Pye says, Daniel, I hear they are making Section 31 into a musical. Just kidding.
That would probably be better if they did, actually.
Well, they've
I don't
already done
know.
that. Yeah, I've heard they've already done that with new Trek, so why not? I mean, what else have they got to lose?
Yeah. Oh,
Ola
boy.
Greg says, hey, Lemon. And Lemon Pie says, hey, fellow Texan, Mr. Euler. Once again, I will mention I stand in solidarity with Texas. God bless you guys. Ola Greg says, I request a jury of all giant spiders. There you go.
Yes,
Well,
and
Pop, you may say it, but I actually made my subheader thing that. So yeah.
I don't know why, honestly, I don't know why sometimes StreamYard shows our header or whatever it's called, but sometimes it doesn't. Like right now, it's not, I don't think.
It's because the chat.
Oh, let me
As
see.
soon as you take the chat off, they'll
There it
come
is.
back on.
Yeah.
There
Gosh,
you
I
go.
forgot to add a header. I should have added something, but oh well.
And for those of you that I mentioned, if you want me to add you to my Stream Element spot, you'll find my Twitter handle right below my name. It's at PC Curator on Twitter. And Jim says, my Stream Elements don't work at all. Guess I did something wrong. Jim, let me know when you get time. You and I can work in the backstage and we'll get it working. I can help you out with that, buddy. Everybody, there's been so many people that are so helpful for me that I'm more than happy to return the favor. Suzanne Eckstein says, poor gorilla. Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU. Hello, Taylor Swift says, Jill. Oops, sorry.
Matt G.
President of the Antiderivative Jill fan club. I know, and I'm sorry for taking that away, Jill, and I apologize especially to you, Taylor Swift.
Jill, when I am in a voice chat with Matt and I mention you, as soon as I mention your name, he comes back with Jill. So he continues that tradition, even outside of the chat.
Discord. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, in Discord.
Well, there's always an echo.
Jill. Yes. And Suzanne says, T.S., hello. And Taylor Swift says, yo. Lemon Pie says, PPP, make eggnog magnate your header.
I don't think I can do it now because I don't know how to do it once the stream goes live. So I should have done it before I entered.
Yeah, kid.
Yeah.
Isn't it just dots? Go ahead, Gorilla.
All you gotta do is click the three dots and click edit name and headline.
Oh, thank you. There we go.
Thank you, Gorilla.
I'm not going to do eggnog, but I got a different idea.
Taylor Swift says, did you get my dollar? So Taylor Swift would buy that for $1.
No, he's referring to your Stream Elements. Did you get his dollar contribution?
He tipped you.
You did? Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. I apologize. I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever had anybody contribute. I don't know. Does it alert me or send me anything? I didn't see anything. Or am I just being blind?
PayPal's alerted me when I got mine there from Captain Phantom there to drink.
Okay, so I need to turn on my PayPal alerts. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hear that? Just check your Stream Element. I just had Stream Elements open in a separate thing so I could monitor it there so that if I did get like a donation, that's why I took the shot.
Oh, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I really do appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you, Taylor Swift. Very kind of you. Thank you. I guarantee you I will take the entire $1 and invest it right back into the streams. That's the whole point, is I want to try to make them sustainable if I can. Or for at least as long as I can, right? Taylor Swift says, we will review the episode eventually. I'm sorry, I know. We'll get to that. I apologize, guys. But I've got to read the chat. I've got to say hello to the people who mean the most to me. And like I said before, I would not be here without the chat. They're extra special, and I try to read every one of them.
Good to acknowledge the fan base, yes.
It is. You guys are everything to me. Not only do I have the greatest panel on YouTube, but I supremely have the best chat and subs. So you guys are really, really everything that I come here for. And that is honest to goodness truth. And here we go. We're now going to officially get into the episode now without further delay. I wanted to mention tonight's episode we are going to cover is Prisoners of Space, Season 2, Episode 6. This episode originally aired on Wednesday, October 19th, 1966.
October 19th is my father's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very cool. Is he still with us, hopefully?
No, he passed on in 2007.
Gotcha. Yeah, my parents are both up in that great galactic tribunal in the sky as well. So hopefully I'll see them again sometime.
Yeah, me too. I'm in the same group there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for all of you that do have either one of your or both of your parents, give them a hug every day. Tell them how much you love you. You never know when the day comes that you don't have them there to do that with.
Well, I don't think my arms will stretch that far.
Well, as long as
All
you
right.
can call them on the phone or acknowledge them, call them on the phone or something.
I talk to my mom every day.
That's sweet.
Oh, that's awesome, Jill.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I
Good.
miss my folks.
Yeah, good for you, Jill. That's really cool.
From what Jill, she hasn't mentioned a lot about her mom, but from what she's described, it sounds like her mom likes to converse and talk. She sounds like she's probably a wonderful person.
Yeah, she absolutely is. She's the best. If I could be half as great as her, then I will have done well as a mother myself.
Yeah.
Well, and I say she is an amazing, fantastic mother because from what we know of you, you're an amazing person, and that's no easy feat to accomplish these days. So, congratulations to your parents for that.
Welcome,
go ahead.
welcome, Geek Flag with Nate Knows 1973. He says, me as well. Both my parents have passed on.
Sorry to hear that, Geek Flag, and it is so good to see you. There we go. That's the one that Gorilla just read.
I had him up, but okay.
And Geek Flag also says, hi, everybody. Well, hello, Geek Flag. Hope you're doing well and keeping warm. Taylor Swift says, hello. Okay, let me make sure that I have that marked. All right. Is there anything anybody wants to add before I'm going to give you a quick assessment of tonight's episode? Anything anybody wants to add?
No.
Not at this point. I'll wait until you've done the intro of the episode.
All right. Okay, so tonight's episode, as we know, is written by Barney Slater, with story editor Anthony Wilson, and is directed by Nathan Jurin. It's produced by Irwin Allen with William D. Ferralla. And this is the assessment according to the book Irwin Allen's Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series, Volume 2, by Mark Cushman. And the assessment is as follows. Prisoners of Space is arguably one of the better episodes of the second season. We're using footage from the first two episodes of the series, both of which had only been shown once on CBS in September of 1965. It is effective, and this episode comes as close as any in the series in explaining the shift in character of Dr. Smith from cunning and effective to bumbling and sniveling. From somewhat in control to almost always out of control, hysterical, frightened, transparent. Don says it. Personally, I think it's a cut and dry situation. Smith is off his rocker, and if it's obvious to me, it's bound to be obvious to the aliens. There is one way to look at the change in Dr. Smith's character from early in the first season to this point in the second. That just perhaps there was a method to the madness in how Irwin Allen, Tony Wilson, and Jonathan Harris were so severely altering a recurring character in a series. Smith was always corrupt, greedy, and hedonistic, but he believed he was in control within a world he would comprehend. Once stranded out among the stars and encountering things and creatures he never imagined possible, his mind snapped, bit by bit, episode by episode. With each new monster, each new unfathomable situation, he became more overwhelmed, and his negative personality traits were amplified. Smith, like a sufferer of early senility, becomes more feeble over time, his character traits more exaggerated. He turns into a caricature of his earlier sneaky, scheming self. This episode appears to make comment on that, telling the aliens that Smith is insane is not just a ruse. Dawn believes it, and most, if not all, the Robinsons do as well. Just 2 episodes earlier, in an effort to defend Smith, or at least rationalize his behavior, Will told his father, I know he was wrong, but that's Dr. Smith. You can't expect him to act like everyone else.
His menace has turned into insanity. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I guess they're actually explaining it to us.
Yeah,
And I have to say, go ahead.
To put it in scientific terms, he's a loon. No.
Right.
That does make a lot of sense, though, what the book is saying. Like, I never quite thought of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense, actually. That's a very good description of Smith's transition character-wise.
It is. Like he's just slowly snapping, right? Every time he encounters something more unfathomable, like it says, that he slips more and more into Looney Tunes.
Definitely seems that way, yeah.
There
Yeah.
are many humorous scenes with the robot in The Prisoners of Space. So far in the series, Barney Slater had a tendency to humanize the robot more than the other writers. Others would hint that Slater left nothing open to interpretation. His manner in script and dialogue for the robot was quite direct. More is not always better, and yet, in this episode, the situations and dialogue Slater writes are quite effective. Take, for instance, when Smith is awaiting the verdict from the tribunal, and the robot is, for lack of a better word, pacing. Smith says, will you park somewhere? You're making me extremely nervous. The robot comes to a stop and says, I'm extremely concerned. Movement relieves my sensory tension. This near-perfect bit of rationalization is what any person might say if they were caught fidgeting in anxiety, but didn't want to admit it. He is not pacing nervously. He is in movement in order to relieve his sensory tension.
Well,
When
and
the
on top
person-
of that, he's mimicking what Smith is doing.
Yes, absolutely, he is.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes where he's walking beside Dr. Smith and he's doing everything that Smith is, the way he's holding his hands and stuff. It was hilarious.
And he clearly shows that he has empathy.
Yes,
even
and
for
that
being a
too.
robot, yeah.
Yeah, that too, which is really cool.
When the character of the robot was presented this way as a reflection of its human creators, the humor inherent in the series hits the bullseye. It's always eerily reminiscent of some of the rationalizations offered on Star Trek by the likewise supposedly emotionless Mr. Spock. And then we had that eerie tribunal, that fright gallery of monsters drenched in a thick carpet of fog, enveloped in moody film noir lighting and bathed in rich colors. The Prisoners of Space is 1966 sci-fi pop art issued into America's living rooms. So the Barney Slater turned in his first draft teleplay on April 28, 1966, and it looked like a second revision, and then Tony Wilson polished it on July 21st, and his final polish was August 2nd. This was Barney Slater's 11th script for Lost in Space, his second of the season following Forbidden World. The intent was to write something that could be shot in only 5 days by incorporating stock footage. Surprisingly, it made for a standout episode. Perhaps Irwin Allen and CBS disagreed. They didn't schedule The Prisoners of Space for a repeat broadcast. So, like the 2 episodes that it showed clips from, no repeats that summer. Which I don't remember because I was a child at the time, but that is always interesting to know. Nathan Jurin, the director, returned for his 6th episode of Lost in Space. It almost seemed to be an insult to ask a former feature film director and the maker of classic science fiction and fantasy movies such as 20 Million Miles to Earth, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, First Men in the Moon, and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, to do an episode in only 5 days. But Jurin liked the challenge of shooting for television, and he especially liked not having to spend a great deal of time on any one project. Gregory Morton in case anyone's wondering, because honestly, I thought it was Malachi Throne doing the voice of the leader, but no, it's Gregory Morton provided the voice of Judge Iko. He was heard on Lost in Space before as the voice of Kanto of Kwasti in Follow the Leader. Morton made a good living in television and films from 1951 through 73, playing an assortment of doctors, professors, generals, politicians, and lawyers, and judges, as in this Lost in Space. You could see what he looked like in the episode End of the World from the Time Tunnel. And of course, who do we get playing the monster? Our resident alien, Dawson Palmer. Always good to see him. If I don't see him, I'm
I think he actually gets a credit at the end of the episode this time.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Thank you for pointing that out. For Prisoners of Space, Guy Williams was scheduled to work for 4 days, as were Mark Goddard, Bob May, June Lockhart, and Marta Kristen. Angela Cartwright and Dawson Palmer were scheduled for 3 days each. Bill Mooney and Jonathan Harris had call dates for 6 days each. Okay, so there is a lot more. Obviously, this book is intensely thick and goes into a lot of detail, but let's get into the slideshow. What do you say, guys?
Sure, sounds good.
Hooray.
Well, at least while Gorilla's still with us, I'll try to get through this relatively quickly, Gorilla.
Oh, come on. You accusing me of falling asleep? I'm going to fall asleep on a live stream? I would never do that. No, never. Not once.
Darn you for having that comfortable recliner.
Oh, man.
Oh, the way my back is right now, I would give anything to have a comfortable recliner.
Yeah, I wish I had a comfortable recliner compared to my old office chair here, which is, it's okay, but it's not the most comfortable chair in the world, that's for sure.
So here we have our intro, which was our cliffhanger from last week.
Oh, hey, welcome, Christine.
You know what? That's a good idea. Gorilla, you want to help me with the chat and get caught up before we go into this?
Yeah. Geeks Flag said, I just got home from work and it's freezing outside already. Hey, if it's 30 degrees, if you're going to say it's cold being like 30 or 40 degrees, then I'll fight you in a I'll hop on a plane. I'll fight you in a Speedo.
Hey, Gorilla, cold is relative.
And by the way, everybody, note to self, Gorilla likes fighting in a Speedo.
Yeah, Christine says, Kirk says, greetings.
Hello, Christine. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sweet lady.
Right. Well, we're all caught up.
All right. So,
hey, Pop, is it all right if I share something real quick?
Please do.
You mentioned Nathan Duran and the super classic movie that he directed in the 50s called Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Oh, yes.
So Harpo asked me to show everyone this.
Ooh. All right, let me know when you're ready and I'll post it.
Okay, hopefully, there you go.
There we go. Perfect. And thank you, Harpo, for sharing that with us. Oh, and
Yes,
also thank you to Stone Racket.
It's a Warner Archive selection, so it's been beautifully restored on Blu-ray.
It's amazing you just have that on hand.
All right. Why does your cat look freaked out?
Because it's the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Yeah, it's a frightening movie. It's not very often you get a 50-foot floozy.
That's right.
I do recommend the movie, everybody. I mean, it's like
fun.
1950. Yeah, it's like 1950s cheese at its height. I mean, it's a great movie. I mentioned it in our stream from from season 1 when we got the Cyclops that was reaching inside the cave trying to get John and Dawn. I mentioned how I liked the effect that the fact they used force focus rather than a big paper mache hand. And this was the movie I referred to. We get a lot of paper mache hand in this movie.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm really biting my tongue right now. I'm biting my tongue because Pop says we got to keep it PG.
It's Burt I. Gordon quality effects.
That's right. The big B.I.G., Burt I. Gordon. I love him. I wish I could do a marathon of just his movies. So yeah, and thank you for sharing that with us. I
No
really do
problem.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
so
that was
much.
cool.
So here's where we have our intrepid Will Robinson, and he's looking for Dr. Smith, who happens to be intently concentrating on his, as the robot says, liquor still. Which I don't blame him. If I was on a remote island in the middle of, or a remote planet in the middle of space, I'd be trying to figure out some way of getting drunk as well. And here we go.
Smith's
See,
still getting into trouble though by using the robot's power supply.
Yes, he was warned not to use the robot's power for purposes like this, but he went ahead and did it anyway. He's using it to run that liquor still, which is unfortunately draining the robot of power.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that it keeps the robot from being able to defend itself in terms of its little electricity that it shoots out, but or the phasers or whatever it has on it.
Oh dear.
But it could still make it back to Jupiter too.
Oh
Yeah.
dear. Oh dear, Pop. Chico, my other cat, is demanding equal time.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, pray tell. And by
Yeah.
the way, this device that the one-eyed creature brings out, get used to it. I'm sure we will see it again.
No, I see. I would have gone with the grape wine there. Personally, I would have had it do like a dandelion wine, but not call it dandelion wine, but like another weed, so that they can make like the wines out of that. Because that's one thing been wanting to try is dandelion wine. But
Well, me too. I'm a big fan of the book and the story by Ray Bradbury. He wrote of dandelion wine, and I would love to taste it and try it out. I've always been curious. I guess it's a real thing, right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one of those depression drinks. Drinks that
Yeah,
come around during the depression.
Very
Chico-
likely.
Chico prefers the remake with Daryl Hannah, as you can see.
Yes. This is a DVD, right?
Yeah, that's a DVD. It was first shown on HBO.
I
And
remember
this-
watching it when it was brand new. I was there for the
Yeah,
premiere.
it was. It's an HBO release DVD, and it's long out of print.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably very hard to find.
But Chico had it in his collection, so we were all lucky here at the Kitty Cat condo.
Well, thank you, Chico. And may I say, your cats have wonderful, splendid taste. So
All right.
here we have the alien. And by the way, Paulie Z Paul is a Stupnovich. By the way, it took a while to practice to be able to say Stupnovich, the creature designer for Lost in Space. He was told to design a creature for the episode, but as we know, we recognize the eye from the episode where they went in the mirror, the platinum mirror,
The magic mirror.
the
Yeah.
magic mirror. Thank you.
Hmm.
So that way, it was able to save them some time and effort. And this is our appearance of the wonderful Dawson Palmer.
Yes, indeed. He's a great actor in these crazy monster suits. So I like the way he responds once he sets this thing down, and then he walks away like he's like, I mean no harm. Don't shoot. I'm not a threat.
Right. Yes, he holds his arms out kind of
Yeah.
wide. Right.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're right. I agree with that. I was thinking the same thing when I watched it. So here's where we get our alert music. I'm always reminded of how excellent the music is for Lost in Space, and they've always got a reoccurring themes for certain events. And the alert music was playing.
Oh,
So we have.
Although one of the things I was thinking of, even though Smith was not following the rules, using the robot and draining his power, since the robot was not able to defend himself, it might have saved the robot from getting in trouble with attacking officer of the law.
That's true.
But in the robot's defense, it didn't identify itself.
That's true.
But they don't really explain themselves very much at all.
I like how John holds Wes back from firing first and asking questions later.
Yes, I don't think that would have helped them with the tribunal very much.
Yeah. Now, did anyone else notice the continuity errors involving this communication device?
Go for it. Tell us what you know.
Well, if you go back to that slide, and you can see the front has that square speaker that lifts up.
Yes.
And once it lifts up, there's a depression on the front the upper triangular part.
Uh-huh.
So when it's in close up, we see that. When it's a reverse shot, it's also correct like this before the speaker comes up. But in the medium long shots, it's turned around the wrong way, so that we see the upper triangular panel with all the lights and no depression for the speaker element.
Ooh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, it was really bothering me. But, that's just a minor nitpick.
Well, yeah, and of course, it's something we all know that back in the 1960s, no one probably noticed something like that.
Yeah, and also it's a continuity error with the creature carrying it, because he's carrying it with the speaker element against his chest. And then all of a sudden, when he leaves it on the rock, it's been turned around. Yeah.
Ah.
Now, if I was on the production, I would notice things like that because I'm a type A. But and here comes the incredibly cool force field fence.
Right.
And no, those pillars with the lights are not cardboard tubes. No way.
No way.
how.
Right. No way they're not cardboard tubes
And then-
painted silver.
And then you're gonna tell me that the fence is not made with plastic wrap.
Right. No, it's
Yeah,
not saran wrap.
Oh! Ah! No, that's
Right, especially we have proof because Professor Robinson throws that massive boulder through it and it explodes.
it almost looked
Yeah.
like a cantaloupe that he threw.
Now
Yeah,
I
it
got
was perfectly round almost.
Yeah, it's perfectly round. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't. I fully admit I cannot scream like the great Fay Ray. Her scream was so great that they kept using it in other films.
Yes, like the Wilhelm stream. You're right. became
Yeah, I
legendary.
mean, her screams in the original King Kong were just excellent, and they reused them in different films.
Yeah. But I got a question. If
Yes,
they're
sir.
if they're capable of that matter transporter, like we'll see here in a minute or a couple minutes, why did they need that alien to deliver it?
Because it's cool.
Well,
And it gives Dawson Palmer something to do. No,
well, that's true.
Intimidation, maybe.
that's
So-
the best reason I could come
Right.
up with.
So,
Yeah.
Gorilla, you're saying they could have used that matter transfer unit. You mean to beam down that device?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very right. Right. Maybe it's like, of course, we're reading too much into it, but
Mhm.
maybe like a court document. If I'm suing you, I need a it's got
Gotta get served.
yeah, you got to be served, and I've got to have a person serve you and hand you the papers to make it official. Of course, that's just a crazy excuse, but that's all I can think of.
Yeah, I like what Jill said. It's an intimidation tactic.
That kind of makes most sense, actually. Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is serious business.
That's exactly. We want to show you.
Stay
that we mean
alert
business.
and listen up.
All right. Should we catch up on chat real quick?
Yes, thank you, Gorilla.
All righty. Geek Flag is laughing. I'm guessing about the little Speedo thing. Taylor Swift here said, "Attack of the 50-foot Jill." LOL.
That's a good one.
Oh,
Chrissy Kurtz, what were you gonna say, Jill?
no, nothing. I don't know what I'd do with that kind of power, but I try to.
I
use
would
it for good.
think I'm totally convinced that if Jill were 50 foot, tall, she would be using this newfound power to help.
Yes,
Yes.
Right, for the
I
good.
think so too. Well, and
Alrighty.
Texas needs a bit of help too. So there we
You're
go.
right.
There
So
we
she'd
go.
be down. So Jill would be down there at the border right now helping out.
Well, I heard
Oh,
the,
yeah. And
I heard the
certainly.
border patrol is standing down. I heard something about the border patrol standing down, but I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay, do you mean the federal or the state side?
The federal border patrol said we're not getting in the middle of
Good.
this,
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
That's
but
wonderful.
I have not
I think,
officially
yeah.
fact checked it yet.
Yeah, because it seems like the news has changed every day. So,
Yeah.
but if that's true, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
You
The
don't want
other
to push
news
them
I
too
received
far.
today isn't that well, but we'll see. But Scurvy here says, "Thank you for the warm welcome, everyone. I love Lost in Space. Well, I'm glad they liked it.
You
No, that's Christine.
That was
Actually,
Christine Hurt in response to scurvy. Or
Yeah,
excuse me,
our
lemon
pleasure.
pie.
It is our pleasure, Christine. If you
And
want love of classic sci-fi, you come to the right place. So
Yeah.
you're always welcome here.
hello, Christine, from a fellow Iowan to
Oh.
another Iowan.
yeah." Christine says, "Oh, that's why it was a secret wine experiment."
Yes, that's why it was secret.
And Geek here says, "When I was 14, I'm living in Brandywine, Maryland. My brother and I helped an old lady clean out her store. She was closing, and she gave us a robot costume. Cool.
Wow, what?
Awesome.
You gotta tell us. Do you mean robot like in one of these movie robots, or like generic? Or yeah, tell us more. That sounds like fascinating. I'm jealous. I would have been jealous as a kid.
Yeah." And Scurvy says the cat is like, "See, I told you, yeah, you could find this DVD."
That's Chico.
It's Chico.
Yeah, lemon pie has it right.
Yeah. And Suzanne here says a ginger kitty.
That's right.
And
Two
Christine-
ginger kitties.
And Christine here says dandelion wine is good. It's light and has a fruity taste to it. Cool.
Ooh, that sounds yummy.
And
Yeah, wait,
Suzanne said,
I don't know if is it something I can buy at the store. I've never seen that. I wonder if I can order it online. I haven't looked.
you'd either have to order it online or go to one of the big liquor stores.
Can they ship booze across state lines?
Yeah,
be a-
because they have wine of the month and stuff like that. So there's got to be. I'm sure there are certain state crossing rules for some specific things, but in general, yes.
Oh yeah, I will try that. I've always wanted to try absinthe as well.
The stuff you have in the United States is way different than the traditional stuff you have in Europe there because it's illegal in the United States.
Yeah, that's what I think I've heard. I would try to see if I can get it smuggled in from overseas.
Oh, I asked my grandpa to bring some back when he was in Ireland, but he never did. I should if I had known a potato oven was only gonna be 8 hours away, I might have asked him to bring me some.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Suzanne says scurvy, right, LOL? What, Jill?
I guess it depends on the state. I'm sure there's a lot of complications to it.
It
No,
probably is.
It's illegal across all the United States because the stuff in Europe I thought was I could be wrong on this, but makes you hallucinate and gives you hallucinations that drives you crazy.
That's
you
what
go
I've heard.
crazy.
I've heard there's something in it. So I don't know as well. I don't know if that's true but yeah, either way, that means of course the absence in America sucks.
well, I remember when I was studying art history for years at college, there were artists that actually did use absinthe quite a bit. I think like Toulouse-Lautrec and maybe Picasso and some of those boys were quite fond of regular consumption at their local hangout of absinthe. And from what I read, it did seem to have like hypnotic sort of effects on the mind. So yeah, it sounded like interesting stuff actually. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard,
I don't know if we can get the real stuff here in Canada or not.
yeah, like Ernest Hemingway. I heard some writers used it for inspiration.
That's what I've heard artists did as well, right, Pop? So yeah.
Uh huh.
Alrighty, so Daniel said, "Is this a new episode starting or is it the ending?" New
New
episode right
episode
now.
starting.
We're pretty much at the start still.
And Other
Sorry
Greg
about
says,
that, guys. I know we're
starting
already
at
an
love.
hour into this. I apologize.
Yeah. And Daniel says this show is great. The '98 movie was great too.
Wrong.
Well,
No,
Gorilla, like I said,
Plus, I haven't
Daniel,
seen it yet. I can't judge it.
I
right,
don't
and
agree.
Daniel is. I know Daniel wants us to, one of us, eventually to do a watch party of it. So maybe Gorilla, if you want to consider that for one of your cringe stocks.
Well, I haven't seen it or heard anything on it, so I can't judge it whether or not it's cringe stock worthy. But
Well, I'll say it's
cringe.
cringeworthy. I'll say it's definitely cringeworthy.
Yeah, it's heading that
Yeah, but what if
direction, girl.
Gorilla loves it?
Yeah, you never know, huh?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's got to
Yeah,
watch it first.
And
Yeah.
Other Greg, oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say you might even love it as much as you did Make It Quick.
Hey. Nothing beats a 20-ton skyscraper floating down the river to take out the San Francisco Bridge.
Right.
Come on now.
Right, except the Crimson Permanent Assurance.
Well, that's the trouble. It reminded me of Monty Python, which I prefer much, much more.
Yeah, in fact, after that stream that night, I went and watched that. That's such a hilarious, great scene.
Well, the thing is, it's only like, what, about 10 or 15 minutes long, too, which is a lot better than the movie. Which was too long, as far as I'm concerned.
All right,
I love Monty Python.
The best thing I can say about the '98 Lost in Space movie is Heather Graham plays Judy Robinson.
Yes.
But
Well,
again, I'm a toxic male, and I make no apologies.
Right. And she was extremely beautiful, but technically, I'll give her credit because it actually beat Matrix in getting bullet time on the screen.
Oh,
And
it
you guys
did.
know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know where everything was slow motion and the camera would zoom around the room. It actually
Okay.
it hit the
Oh, that's right.
theater
When
before Matrix.
yeah, that's right. I know what you're talking about. The interior of
Alright.
the Jupiter 2. Yeah.
Yeah, when Judy was working on
Yeah.
Judy was basically on the hospital, what do you call it, their sick bay.
Yeah.
Was on the sick bay bed and fell. It was a small scene, but it was enough to advance it ahead of the Matrix, because I remember I saw the movie theaters and I was amazed when I saw that scene. I was like, wait a minute, what is this?
Yeah, that was 2 years before the Matrix, wasn't it? Or 1 year?
Maybe
Yeah.
not that much. Yeah.
Yeah,
they
it was
were
1
both-
year because Matrix is 99, isn't it?
Yes, they were both in
Yeah.
production at the same time, but Matrix came out after.
You got it. Hmm.
But somehow somebody must have snuck on the set or something.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
And that's the effect. I mean, it was like great when it came out, but then they way overdid it to the point where we didn't even want to see it anymore ever again.
All right. Other Greg says, "Warning, warning! Arms waving wildly.
Danger,
Stay
danger.
on target."
Alien presence.
And we're getting I think, is this a winky face or just a smiley?
That's a
Oh,
winky
we
face.
We're getting a winky,
Winky
face.
Winky.
Winky. Thank you,
And-
Christine.
And Geek says, "And we lost the robot
Oh.
costume in a fire." Oh, that sucks. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. Danger, danger.
The robot from Lost
Oh.
in Space.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
They're not going to make it. That will be worth so much money right now. Oh, goodness.
All right,
I
Christine
know
says,
I've lost things in fires too, so I feel your pain.
yeah. And Christine says, "How do you approach a reed head?" I'm not sure. And Other Greg says, "The costume lives in your memory." 73.
That's right.
And Spodek and the Bandit can get your booze across state lines quickly. Yeah.
There you go. Right, the bandit and right.
Yeah, eastbound down, rolling up in trucking. And Christine says, "I found this on Google. Dandelion wines, Terra Nazis, Argentina, 751 milligram."
Oh,
not sure.
I think that's a link.
Yeah. It's a link, but it's not showing up as a link. I don't think.
It seems your best bet is to ask your favorite liquor store to get the liquor that you want.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a mom and pop place, they could probably do a little better.
Beware the hypnotoad.
A hypnotoad.
What?
Yeah. And I have read the effects of real absinthe and similar to the LSD. I might be dyslexic typing that one in.
No,
Okay.
that's okay.
Oh,
I've heard
that's
certain
a Star Trek
similarities too.
joke.
Yes, and I've heard certain similarities as well to
Right,
that.
Star Trek 4.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
All right.
Magic
So if,
mushrooms.
so if it's similar to LSD, then it's then yeah, that explains why it's illegal.
And the hypnotoad is from Futurama.
Yeah.
It's a toad you watch on TV and it's mesmerizing. Nothing's happening, but you can't stop watching.
All right. Taylor or Christine says by quoting Captain Kirk from Star Trek 4, LOL.
Yeah, me and Jill were on that.
Yeah, Geek says it's the wormwood in absinthe and the strong alcohol. That made it so potent. Okay. What? Jill, you're the one on this one.
Okay. Oh, what's this then? What's this then? Say no more. Say no more. Wink, wink.
Nudge,
Nudge,
nudge.
nudge.
Know what I mean? Know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, but
Oh,
Jill,
that's
like
a great-
Monty Python. Do you
Yeah.
recognize that, Jill? That because that's Monty Python. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Monty Python.
Your wife a goer? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I
Right.
mean?
Know
No,
what I mean?
That's a great skit.
Is
That's
she
one of
into
Python's best.
candid photography? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean?
Is she a goer? Is she a goer?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Father Greg says you can't go wrong with quoting Captain Kirk, Christine. She says, "Thank you, Father Greg. I agree."
So true.
And
Give me
Scurvy
the
says,
brandy.
and Scurvy here says, "Great skit, Christine. Love
It is.
that classic."
It's a great skit, but keep in mind, guys, when you're quoting it to somebody who has not seen it, they're not going to understand. So it
Actually,
makes
yeah.
sense.
I think people that have never seen Monty Python should definitely check it out because it is a classic
Well,
series.
I haven't gotten to the dispensary, so I can sit through one.
Right, just to make this quick, it originated with Monty Python's Flying Circus, and then later they had it in their movies. So yeah, it was a reoccurring. It was probably and now for something new and completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I was
Alright.
so glad that I loved Monty Python as a kid. Thanks to PBS, I was exposed. So I saw every one of their movies in theaters, and I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, we had it on PBS here too, and that's where my friends and I would watch it every week,
Yep.
and we just love that show.
I remember because you meet people that you would tell them about it and say, "Hey, you need to check this out." I can't understand what you're saying. So because sometimes they would have that thick accent and they would talk fast, but once you get used to it, yeah, you can understand it. It's relatively simple.
When I was in high school, we had in our sociology class, the teacher was showing a British documentary, and the whole class was laughing all the time because of the British narrator, and the teacher kept stopping. She goes, "What is so funny?" And we all go, "It's just like Monty Python." It's just this overly pompous, overly serious, staccato rhythm and a British
Yes.
accent. It was just we just couldn't take it seriously.
All right, so Christine says, "Love the classics." Father Greg says, "Beauty survives." James T.
Oh,
Kirk.
hey,
Wait,
Hey,
what?
that-
I missed something scrolling back?
a preview of tomorrow's episode.
Oh, she said, "Sorry, redhead."
Oh,
Oh,
good.
okay.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah,
more sense.
Geek says the 1998 Lost in Space movie dethroned Titanic as the #1 movie.
Yes, it is. It did. Yes, it was the first one because
Wow.
many, many, many movies went up against Titanic and failed. But yes, Lost in Space, when it came out, it actually was the first one. Now, it didn't last long at #1 at the theaters, but
Right.
it was the first to dethrone Titanic.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder how many of the old school Lost in Space fans went to see it thinking it was going to be a great movie, and then it's like, oh.
That was me. I was there
Yep.
the night it premiered,
Yeah.
and the audience you could tell the audience was mostly Lost in Space fans.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
that's
we all shared the same reactions. I'll put it
yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
gosh.
the trailer was just great. You know, it was like, oh, this looks so cool. then we got
yeah.
there and we
All right.
were disappointed.
All right, Christine says, "Oh, the robot costume. Okay, no, it's the description. Oh, gotcha. Not a link." And Older Greg says, "I prefer redheads." LOL.
Reed heads.
Oh,
Redheads.
redheads.
Well, no,
And-
she said that she misspelled redheads.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but he spelled it Reed head, so he's making a joke.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. And Christine says, "Hypnotoad can't stop watching, even as Fry is saying how TV has gone to crap." LOL. Tis but a scratch. You approach redheads gingerly. LOL.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep, PBS rocked back in the day.
It
Doctor
did.
Who was great as well. And Geek says PBS is where I was introduced to Monty Python, Doctor Who, and are being served.
I loved Are You Being Served?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a great show. Yeah, that's an awesome series.
The 98 Lost in Space had a great idea and good actors, but poor execution. All right, let's get on with this movie here.
Yeah,
Here.
maybe we'll eventually actually cover this episode.
All right. And I'll try to get to this fairly quickly. So here's where the Robinsons are notified that there is a space tribunal and they must all appear because they've all been indicted for crimes. And it does not go into detail on what their
But-
crimes are.
Wait. What? With one major detail.
Dr.
Except
Smith.
Dr. Smith.
And he is just overjoyed with himself when he finds out he's not added to the list.
I found
Which, of
that
course,
that was pretty bizarre that Smith was the only one that escaped being, called to testify. Like, really? Like, he's the
Well,
guiltiest one of all.
their assumption was that he didn't mean to be on the trip, so he wasn't charged
Right.
with the
Right.
because he
Or
was an
understand
accidental
that.
stowaway. They didn't understand the
Ah.
truth.
Right.
Okay.
They actually thought that everything was everyone else's fault but his. So it was exactly backward, which I thought was clever. I thought that was very clever that they did that.
Well, it was a nice setup, yeah, for sure. I just thought it was a bit weird, though. They were like, like Judy and, the kids. Like, I mean, how many crimes could they have really done? Seriously, I mean,
Well, that's what Maureen says, and because she's like, well, even the kids, right?
yeah, the kids are kind of pretty innocent, I
So
thought.
think
but,
about it. I mean, if they would went into detail, they could have said, well, Penny did steal the bloop.
Yeah, but did the bloop have an owner previously?
Well, they just assumed that it did not, and Penny took it.
Yeah, but
No,
Penny saved it because the pre-planets blew up.
That's
I think Penny
possible.
just wanted to take it home and keep
Right.
it safe, basically. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what Penny would do, right?
But we don't, they, of course, we're just speaking theoretical because they never showed on screen whether the bloop had a family or not, or was it just one of a kind? Or, I don't know.
Yeah, they never. Well, yeah, no, they didn't go into details.
Right.
That was a little disappointing. None of the women had to give any testimonials.
Yeah,
Well, there's a reason for that. The men are called, and by the time they get to Will, they're like, wait a minute, this is the third time we've heard about this Smith character. We need to call him in. Of course, once they call him in, all bets are off. They know who the true guilty party is.
Well, right. Right. Not only that, but they realized that he seemed to be the linking character to all these disasters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so the women weren't needed to testify at all because the
'Cause they
tribunal.
found their man.
The tribunal said, yeah, they found. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's this guy.
But
We don't need any more evidence at all.
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
But I understand Jill's point. It was sexist when you think about it, that only the men were called.
yeah. I mean, I
Please
get-
don't say the bubble creature was sexist.
I
No.
get
I'm not sure if he was. It just would have been fun.
It's Barney Slater and Irwin Allen. Yeah,
I-
they're the
I don't.
sexist
I
ones.
don't necessarily want to say. I don't want to accuse him of sexism. It's just it's fun when I get to see those actors have a little more stuff to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, Penny and Judy just had a couple of measly lines, and it's like, come
Well,
on.
she's basically like, I'm sure glad I don't have to testify.
Yeah.
So
And then Judy
that's
and
what
then
got
Judy
me.
has the great line of dialogue, "Me too, Penny."
Well, right, and I always, even as a kid, I always thought it was very demeaning when any of the women had the line, "More coffee."
Well,
Yeah.
Maureen
Oh,
had, and I made such a lovely meatloaf.
yes. Space loaf, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
It's cosmic loaf.
Hopefully she
Cosmic
had
loaf.
some horseradish in it because that's awesome in meatloaf, by the way.
Ooh, I never thought about that. That does sound
Yeah.
yummy.
My mom would
Spice
make
it up.
meatloaf with horseradish during the
Ah,
week when my dad was on the road because he couldn't stand it. So she made it for us kids.
No, that's a great idea. I love horseradish. Sometimes when I grill a steak out on the grill, I'll put horseradish on top of it.
And then my mom sometimes would put the Jimmy Dean brand sausage in the
Mm-hmm.
meatloaf. And then one time she accidentally got the spicy Jimmy Dean style sausage, and she didn't realize until after we were eating it. But thing is, all of us kids, we just loved it. So it's like, yeah, keep doing this.
It's not a bad idea.
I have to
Yeah,
ask. I know it's off topic, but was it the Jimmy Dean links or the pound, like in a roll?
it was in the roll. Yeah, we always got
Got
the
it.
roll.
Those links are the perfect example of shrinkflation. That's the most god awful product you could ever buy anymore. The Jimmy Dean link sausages, where the package has been the same size ever since the 70s, but the links are only the size of the window of the package.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Do they still
really
make the
horrible.
roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So here's where we have, of course, Dr. Smith up to his usual self, trying to make a deal with the, shall we say, I know it's not the tribunal itself, but the representative of the tribunal. Of
Yeah.
course, saying that he could spy on the Robinsons, maybe with perhaps a tape recorder.
Yeah, he's trying to bribe them.
And the tribunal, of course, as and like we mentioned earlier, he's very transparent. And even though of course, he's very snide, and he does say, but it could also help the Robinsons. But of course, uh, this I don't know, messenger, for lack of a better word, sees right through that.
Whatever
Representative.
it is, I appreciated when Smith is a little more sinister because he is supposed to be the antagonist, and he is in this case.
he was much more sinister in this episode, which was one reason I enjoyed it so much. Because I mean, he was basically saying, "Oh, I can record some of the Robinsons' conversations for you, and that might help your investigation." So he was being pretty sinister.
I get why they don't do it most of the time because he can't be too evil, or else why are these people being nice to him?
Yeah,
Right,
but I mean,
exactly
after
the point, right, where they're going to
yeah,
abandon him.
Jill, first trivia question as a first time viewer, but did you recognize the voice of the tribunal? Well, it turns out to be the judge, but
Eco.
did you recognize that voice? Have you heard it before in Lost in Space?
Sorry.
He was the voice of the alien spirit, Canto Quasti in Follow the Leader, the one that possesses John Robinson.
Yep.
Oh, that was a good
Yeah,
episode.
that was the
I
same
enjoyed that.
actor that did that voice as doing the voice of the tribunal or the judge.
Yeah, because I had confused him with Malachi Throne. I thought they sounded very similar.
Yeah, Malachi Throne has a really, really good. Well, he's just a good voice actor as well as actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a good screen presence.
Yeah, and what Malachi Throne? What Batman villain did he play, Jill?
I don't think she's
Yeah.
seen the Batman series.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't. I've watched
Okay.
a few episodes.
Okay,
Of
all right.
Batman,
Then we
but
turn to PvP. What Batman villain did Malachi Throne play?
oh, I haven't watched Batman in so many
Okay,
decades. I really can't
okay.
remember.
Well, I give it to Pops then.
One episode was a false face.
You got it. False face.
Wow, good memory.
Yep.
So here we have the next day. They're eating breakfast. Unfortunately, Dawn Don's worried, so he did not touch his breakfast. But of course, Dr. Smith comes out. He's more than happy to gobble it down, of course, because as we've seen before, stress never bothers him whatsoever.
Yeah.
Where did they get?
That was a healthy helping of
Eggs.
scrambled eggs, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
it
it's
must
really
have-
fun to.
it was like a whole carton of
Yeah,
scrambled eggs.
one thing real quick, Jill, do you see that creature on the rock there in the lower, the left-hand corner?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a fly creature. And the mask that actor is wearing is from the original 1958, The Fly.
Oh,
And-
that's really awesome.
And Jill, just for a little preview, that will pop up in a future episode.
All right. Well, at
Yeah.
least now that you
And-
tell me, I will look out.
Yeah,
for it.
and I won't tell you which episode, but it'll be very frightening. So be prepared.
So there was a ongoing thread in the first season that they didn't have eggs. There was no way to get eggs, but
Yeah,
this planet has eggs.
yeah, apparently so.
And I will note that fly mask was used before in Lost in Space. This is our second appearance of it.
Oh, what was the first?
The episode with Kurt Russell and his father.
Oh,
Right. I'm trying to remember but it's where Kurt Russell, it was his challenge to prove that he was a man. You know what I'm talking about?
I think it was called The Challenge, was it not? That
yeah, it was called.
Yeah, thank you. The
Yeah.
challenge, yes.
Oh, I haven't watched that in a long time.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. That's
the
cool.
fly is the creature that's in the cage that Kurt Russell has to fight in order
okay.
to prove to his father.
Is it the exact same costume with the wings, or is it just the mask?
Costume, the mask is the same costume, it's a little different.
Yeah, okay. Oh, and Jill, right hand.
Now I see the robot.
There you go.
Yes, I see the robot.
Robot
brain.
Yay.
Yeah, the brain's pretty
Incredible.
cool.
And
I
also,
had a question.
oh, go ahead.
Why do they need him to be truthful when the machine's going to do it for them?
Well, didn't you see when Smith was lying, it caused video interference?
Well, he was trying to manipulate it, of course.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, that just doesn't work.
Yeah, and of course John's not going to be lying,
No.
and they'll
None
and
of them
because
have any reason to lie except for
yeah, he
Smith.
has no reason. That's right, and because he's going to be telling, telling the truth, they'll have a crystal clear picture and great reception.
Well, I think the machine doesn't so much force them to tell the truth. It just checks the
Yeah.
words they're saying to make sure if they are truthful. And if they're not, then you're going to get the screen like when Smith is in the chair.
Right.
I like it because it kind of mirrors real life, where if you're faced with the law, they tell you from the beginning, look, if you're honest, this will go a lot easier. Because they all say, we're going to get to the truth eventually, but if you're honest, this is going to be, you won't be held in contempt of court and all these obstructing justice and all those other things. So I guess it all comes down to maybe a lighter sentence.
This chair is really cool, by the way. I thought this was a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's obviously just an office chair painted silver.
But it still looks cool.
You think, right? I mean, and I know this is supposed to take place in '98, but it would have been nice if they would have had the wherewithal to show a flat screen TV instead of having that frame around it, like a
Yeah.
regular television of the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
I
Hey.
agree.
Hey, I'll take that TV. I'll accept this one. But why couldn't we get either they colorized it or give us the deleted scenes we haven't seen?
Well, the thing is,
Oh,
wasn't
picky,
all of
picky.
this
Yeah.
filmed in color anyway? They could have, didn't they?
No,
No, there were specific sequences they filmed in color,
right, like the
and
spaceship
that
landing
involved
and crashing and stuff like that.
that involved the chariot and the on location usage of the Jupiter 2 crashing and whatnot. But as far as this, like this with the outer space effects, they didn't film those in color.
So your memories project into this machine in black and white.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but I remember reading a statistic years and years ago in a trivia section in the Sunday paper that there are actually some people that dream in black and white.
Yeah,
And
I've heard that.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I heard that too because for a point they thought everybody dreamt of black white, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, I very vivid
don't.
colors in my dreams, especially when I'm dreaming I have lots of money.
Right. And to mention, comment on what Gorilla said. Why don't they show outtakes? I think that would have confused the audience.
That's
The
true.
audience they'd be thinking, "What did I miss an episode?" Oops, sorry guys.
No, you didn't miss. It was just something I was thinking of when I was seeing all that black and white there. They should be done in a color, or just give us something we haven't seen already.
No. Gotta remember budget. Gotta keep things
Well,
Yeah.
the
on
answer
budget.
for that is that apparently people didn't really get to watch those episodes in reruns.
Yeah, they
according
didn't
to
rerun
pop
those.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't rerun them.
you had to wait until summer, and even then they wouldn't rerun all the episodes. They just run selected ones, right?
And another one they did not rerun was My Friend Mr. Nobody, which is a crime. That's the best
Oh,
darn
Oh, what a
episode.
shame.
my
Yeah,
favorite of
and
That's a
season
great
one.
one.
yeah, it's all because CBS and they're don't have children in jeopardy and don't do this, and it's like, will you stop it? Come
I
on.
know.
Yeah, that was my favorite
Yeah.
episode of season one. I love that episode.
Yeah, that's my top favorite. And
Yeah, that's great.
that-
Penny gets to do stuff.
yeah, it was just it's a lyrical fable,
It's
you know,
beautiful. It's a
and
beautiful
and
episode.
it's and the score to that is just incredible by
Oh.
John Williams.
John Williams' score is amazing. Yeah, it's just such a well scripted and put together and directed episode. I mean, I can't think of a real flaw in it at all. I mean, it's close to perfection for me.
Yeah,
And he was so
my
young
only
back then. Yeah, John Williams was so young back then, but he
yeah.
started off great.
Yeah, and my only gripe with that is how condescending Will is towards Penny.
Yeah, he's a little bit nasty.
It's kind of like, well, that's that's a little bit
That
too
was a bit out,
nasty.
that was out of character for him.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
picked on her, but not that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So here's what we have, where people have been taking their turns testifying in front of the tribunal. Smith, of course, it's just eating him alive. He can't figure out why he hasn't been called up there.
Yeah, Dawn was
So-
just charged with littering.
Yes, and it makes sense too because even Smith knows he's guilty. I mean, even he is. So this is where we actually see the guilt is actually eating him alive because he knows it's a matter of time before they realize it.
This is one of the best quotes in the whole episode. In my
Yeah.
opinion, you're responsible for all the
the
mistakes.
mistakes.
Yeah,
Straight up the truth. Yes.
And do you have his response? Oh,
I got it. I got it here. Just give me a second. Let's.
he has.
Do you have it? Because I have it too. But if you have it, I'll let you.
Everybody's ready.
And
Okay.
Dr. Smith says, "Hold your tongue, you bubble-headed booby."
Yeah, he has a lot of great insults.
Now,
Parsimonious puppet, tyrannical tin plate,
yeah,
cowardly clump.
yeah. Have you guys noticed that the fence was made of saran wrap and the poles were made out of like cardboard?
What? You don't say.
He said
never-
those words.
Never would have noticed that, Gorilla.
I have to ask a quick question.
Yes.
And I don't usually talk about the new Lost in Space series, but Jill, you watched part of the new Lost in Space, right?
Just season 1.
Okay. Because I was just thinking, I don't think there was any relation or interaction between the new Dr. Smith and the new robot. I don't think. I think
No,
all that
really,
is
that was
gone.
it was just Will and the robot, and
Oh.
yeah. Oh, I gotta step away.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
series is really, really bad.
yeah, and the thing it's the robot isn't part of the crew. It's an alien robot,
Yes.
and it's like,
And
huh?
And it disappears for a good chunk of the show.
Yeah, I have forgotten most of that, but I do remember that it seemed to be kind of threatening to Will, and you didn't really know what it was going to do, but it's an alien artifact, or I can't remember how it got on that planet, but maybe it was stranded there as well. I have no idea.
I
but
don't remember, and I watched it too, but I don't remember. And
yeah,
it was lazy. It was just some guy in leotard with a mask. It was like, oh, come on.
and now after the '98 movie, I think in 2000, have any of you seen the pilot
Pilot.
for the Lost in Space series that they were planning to do back then?
I
No.
think it's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and I was going to try and locate that. I keep forgetting to do it because I did watch it years ago, but if it's still on YouTube, I'm going to download it.
So it
Yeah,
was
if you
decent.
do,
It was decent then, wasn't
It was interesting, but I want to rewatch it because I know it was better than the movie, uh, but it just I can't remember why I guess it just didn't sell.
it? Mm.
if you're able to locate it, so Racket, please drop the link in our stream group.
Okay,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah,
I
no
wouldn't mind.
problem.
I wouldn't mind checking it out. Yeah, because I haven't seen any Lost in Space, movies or series since the original one in the '60s. And the movie I did see, which I thought was pretty bad. But I mean, I haven't seen any of the TV shows that they've done, like the new one that Pop and Jill have watched apparently. Um, and I'm not too certain I actually want to bother because it seems like it's pretty mediocre. And why would they have an alien robot that doesn't interact? Like, I mean, the whole key to this show is the robot and Smith and Will, the triumvirate interacting with each other. That's like the core of the series.
If you were to take this series of Lost Space Original and you were to list the top 10 things about the show that made it appealing, all of those are missing from the '98 movie and from the new series.
Makes no sense. Like, why can't they just learn? I mean, this show is immensely popular for 3 seasons. Why can't they just figure it out? It's like maybe we should keep some of those key elements,
I
intact
know.
instead of changing everything.
Arrogance. They think they can do it better.
And then they fail.
Yes, they do.
Oh man.
So now we have William Robinson facing the tribunal. And so they're saying maybe you had a better start from the beginning. And of course, Will Robinson is basically, of course, he's innocent. And they're going to probe his mind and find out such. So, and as Stone Racket mentioned earlier, every time they bring up anything they have questions about, they all seem to be linking one thing, and that seems to be Dr. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we have the episode with the derelict. It was a good episode. And here's where we have the Robinsons, of course, that are, as the ship is entering the derelict. And I thought this was a hilarious. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a scene in tonight's episode that is just so funny. I laughed. But I'll wait till we get there. I don't want to ruin it. So
I did find that it was from 2004. I did find a link for the unsold pilot for Lost in Space.
Ooh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much.
So I put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I just clicked on it.
Put it in the YouTube, our posting group.
Oh, can I do that?
Please.
Okay, I didn't. I thought I couldn't put links in there.
Oh no, that's what it's for. You should have. If it doesn't work for some reason, let me know.
Okay.
But that's the whole reason why I have that group, is so we could share things like that.
Okay, I just put it in there. Hopefully, it's showing up.
Yeah, I've posted a few movies for Pop and other people in the group when they've had an interest in discovering some of the stuff I watched years ago, and it always seems to work for me. So I mean, hopefully.
The link I just put in there is for the unsold pilot from 2004 for Lost in Space.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
I just clicked on it, so I've got that page pulled up on YouTube now. So I'll have to save that to watch later.
The thing with the private chat is when the stream is over, it disappears.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
True,
Yeah,
true.
so I tend to lose a lot of stuff if people send it to me in the private chat. And this is okay. Once again, she's serving. This is what Jill was talking about earlier, where they're eating
Oh
and they're having
my.
meatloaf. And I'm sure the meatloaf is probably yummy. I'm sure she's a great cook.
I'm sure she is. Since,
Yeah.
it's just
It
like cooking and laundry are Marine's,
yeah,
main
I was
activities.
I was
Yeah,
when I was
we forget she's a biologist, but it's fine.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
when I was watching this, it made me hungry.
Yeah.
too.
Like
Gosh, yeah.
meatloaf? Oh, that sounds good.
Actually, I got meatloaf in the fridge. I'm going to warm up later. Wow, what a coincidence! Awesome.
I know it does sound yummy, and I'm going to try your suggestion there, Stonemark. I'm going to try it with horseradish next time.
Yeah, it's really good.
I never
Sounds
thought of that.
amazing.
And
I'll have to
the
try
thing
that.
is, my mom would put a layer on top of ketchup and bake it in.
Yes.
And the thing is, I would always like to put a little more ketchup on top, and it would always irritate my mom. She goes,
Oh,
"There's already ketchup in it." And I said, "Well, Mom, I want the fresh ketchup on
Yeah,
top."
you want the uncooked ketchup. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Right.
The thing is, my father did the same thing, but she wouldn't say anything to my dad
Oh.
about it. She just would gripe at me when my dad was on the road. It's
And
like,
Yeah, I
"It's okay,
also-
Mom. I can taste both the cooked ketchup and the fresh ketchup."
Right. And
Yeah.
for us fans of meatloaf, I want to point out that when you're making your meatloaf and you're putting your ketchup on top, make sure you cover every square inch. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to eat the meatloaf that only has partial ketchup on it.
I usually drown my meatloaf in ketchup. I gotta be honest. So yeah.
Mine is a 50-50 combo of ketchup and barbecue sauce.
Oh, interesting.
But enough with the galloping gourmet, right?
Yes, let's get back to Dr. Smith's evil ways here.
Yes. So, Will is off
Did
for
we
breakfast.
lose Gorilla, by the way?
Oh,
Oh, maybe he lost his Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh, right. He was having internet issues. That's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, he
And
was. Yeah.
He is
That-
right now in the process of returning.
Jill, thank you for this particular still. It's a great response
Yeah,
from the
you
robot.
will never have to worry about becoming an angel, Dr. Smith. When he asks,
That's
what
a
do I do? Just
classic.
jump over or
Just
fly over?
sprout wings and fly over the fence.
Yeah, but you know what? When I heard that, I thought about the jetpack. He could.
Oh
use
yeah,
it.
the jetpack.
Oh, that is so true.
Oh, speaking of the jetpack, what was that, Gorilla?
I'm back.
Okay, that's good.
Welcome
I'm glad
back,
you're back.
Gorilla.
One quick thing about the jetpack. Yet another factual error in Mark Cushman's book. When he's talking about the jetpack in the pilot, No Place to Hide, he mentions Thunderball, and he said that Thunderball filmed that sequence in '64. It's like, no. The first thing they filmed was the jetpack sequence and the pre-credit sequence, but it started in February of '65.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for
Yeah.
pointing that out.
Yeah, but it was interesting that Lost in Space beat James Bond as John Robinson was the first one to use that particular jetpack before
true.
Bond, because Thunderball didn't premiere until December of '65.
Oh, very cool.
So Lost in Space was first.
And we still don't have our own jetpacks. Darn it.
I know. When I was still working, one of the doctors, I was going through the cardio clinic, and one of the doctors had a video on of a guy with a jetpack, a modern jetpack, and he was speeding over a lake with it, and I was like, "Oh, that's great! Are you going to buy that?"
Oh, right.
It's like, you can afford that, can't you? You're a doctor.
Right.
But it's like, oh man, I wish I had one of those.
I know.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine the chaos if everybody had jetpacks flying
Right.
around, though?
Well, that's
I mean,
like flying cars. We'd have cars falling out of the sky every day. They'd be crashing.
Yeah.
exactly.
Hey, speaking of falling out of the sky, should we catch up on chat?
Thank you, Gorilla. Yes, good idea.
All right, Christine says Red Green was also on PBS. So cool. Then I'm not sure what these are. It's too small for me to see.
They look like cookies, almost.
Oh,
Ooh, yummy.
He has pancakes. Oh, it's It's bagels.
Those look like bagels.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
bagels.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I thought they were pacifiers for some reason. Okay. And Geek says, well, Debbie is a one of the kind now because her home planet blew up.
Yeah,
True,
that's
true.
true.
That
That's
is a
true.
fact.
This
And,
is pancakes.
And Jill, the bloop in the '98 movie is a CGI disaster.
Oh.
Well, yeah, and believe it or not,
Wow.
and I'm not lying,
All right.
but I saw an interview with the director. They spent the majority of the entire film's budget on that damn thing, and
Oh,
that's what I
Really?
mean. I'll never forget. Like I said, I saw it at the theater that I had premiered, and I'll never ever forget the scene. It was right after the Jupiter 2 landed on the planet, and the character playing Dawn steps into the front of the camera and goes, "Oh, well, the chariot's a junk pile," and the whole audience
yeah.
collectively like, "Oh, are you
Yeah, he goes
kidding
to
me?
he says the chariot is smashed. I'm like, you
It's junk
bastards.
pile." Yeah, so they spent
Yeah.
all that money on that damned CGI, horrible CGI monkey, and we didn't even get the chariot at all. I mean, oh my god, that movie! Oh,
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the space chariot, Olaf Van S sent me a link on your Twitter video on a guy that built his own space chariot. Do you want me to put that in the chat?
please do.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
So
in the
Okay.
StreamYard group, because I know there's also a video out there of the guy who found the original and restored it, along with like,
Yeah.
like other props from. Yeah, so
Oh.
yeah, definitely share that.
all right.
You want me to put it in the private chat only, or
No.
Okay.
The Twitter stream group.
Stream group?
All right. So Taylor
you.
Swift gives us a bunch of pancakes, and
Yeah,
Daniel says aliens. And Christine says, I'm super happy I could have archived all the Lost in Space.
Yep.
Yeah. Geek says Netflix Lost in Space had great special effects. It looks like a movie, but it was so different from the story of Lost in Space. They could have named it something completely different.
Yeah, I wish they
Definitely.
would have. I wish they would have.
It was insanely different. I
Right,
don't
it's like-
see any comparison to this one and that one, except for a few names.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like modern Trek. It's like, yeah, sure, it had better special effects and more money. Other than that, they should have get Trek way away from the name.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually prefer the old effects to any of the new stuff. I think a lot of the like Discovery, I think, is horribly ugly, like special effects wise. At least the
Well,
episodes I watched.
The effects on the original series, uh, you could practically see the fingerprints of the people that actually cared about the show when it went into the making of it. So that's one of the things that I
Yeah.
think makes it so invaluable.
Much of it was hand done.
What I
Yes,
love about
exactly.
TOS is the original effects to me look more realistic than the CGI stuff they added like 15 years ago or whenever it was now. I mean, like the shuttlecraft landing in the original episodes with the original effects. I mean, it's a model, right? It's actually a built model, and it looks fantastic. And then when I watch a CGI version of the same episode, and it's like the Galileo or whatever's landing, it looks totally cartoony to me, like just completely fake.
Well, help me out, but I don't remember them ever having an effect of the Galileo landing.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, the Galileo 7, the one with Spock's parents, they landed in a shuttlecraft.
Yeah, they do show a bit more of that.
Yeah, there were a
Okay.
few episodes definitely, Pop.
And they showed the shuttle landing, like actually landing on the ground.
like coming in to the ship and going out too, both ways, right?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking about on the planet's surface.
No,
Yeah.
in the Enterprise,
Got it.
shuttle bay.
Thank you.
All right. Christine says, I didn't know YouTube had groups.
Yes, they do. You can create one, and then you add your friends to it, and that way when you share a link,
Twitter.
everybody sees it. Twitter. Thank you, Twitter. And that way when you share a link, everybody sees it. So it really makes it really handy to share ideas and our streams. Like when we're going live, we'll post a link in there saying, okay, everybody, I'm going live. Here we are.
Yeah. And because Christine says my son needs a better car. I was going to try to just going on my YouTube live and to try to get some funds for that, but I don't know if it'll be successful.
Well, it never hurts to try.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta get me a soda.
Well, you gotta do the
All right,
stream.
then.
Well, yeah, you tend to have to kind of do longer streams with that, and it works better during the day too, because like at night here, a lot of people are sleeping and stuff. Geek says they could have called it
Yeah.
Star Odyssey, yeah, or Lost It in the Stars, or the Star-Crossed Path. I don't know anything else. They basically just used the name and characters to steal their thunder. I don't know. I think they figured that no one would go back and watch the original. But
Until now.
yeah, but Netflix Lost in Space had a freaking cool chariot, and
Yeah.
more than one of them.
Yeah, that is one of the things it did have. That
Oh.
their cherry was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
that's
like a
nice.
tank.
Wow.
And Christine says, yes, I love the TOS original effects. And it says you can skip some of my comments we want. No, I'll read them. All right, let's get this going here.
Okay, so here's where the robot is hatched a plan. They figured out, and you think that the robot would be the last person to do it, but
Right, exactly. That's the weirdest part to me. Why does a robot decide, oh, well,
Right,
I can
because-
help you escape?
yeah, it's, considering it's dishonest, but you think it would be Dr. Smith would have been the one to come up with the idea.
Especially with the robot brain right there watching what's going on. The robot
just
could be
wondering-
indicted.
If perhaps the robot was thinking, if I help Dr. Smith escape, maybe it'll make Dr. Smith look even worse, and maybe that'll get him into even more trouble, perhaps?
I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know. I was just guessing. I mean, I don't know. It does seem odd, though. That the
Well,
robot
it
would-
is lucky for this plan that the tribunal doesn't have video surveillance and it's just the radar.
Well,
So that
to
makes
be-
this
right,
possible.
Well, here's what's interesting is because the way they fashion the scene, where the tribunals keep an eye on them, they have what's supposed to be a searchlight, and it's reminiscent of the old prison escape movies that they can only see what is in the beam of the searchlight. So that's why
Yeah.
when the robot hatches the scheme, the robot says, we'll dig under the fence, but you guys can hide behind me. And that way, whenever the beam passes by, they cannot see it because it's behind the robot. So
Yeah.
it kind of doesn't make sense that that's the only technology that the tribunal has. I have to mention that.
It's
You
kind of
know-
fun though as an old trope. I appreciate that with the historical context you just gave.
Yeah. Though you can appreciate the historical trope, though. I would have loved it since this was still 60s here. I remember reading, watching a documentary there on one of the largest escapes from one of the camps in Germany there, where these people had this like little exercise box. All these people would jump over, but occasionally one of the guys would sneak underneath the box, and they dug a long tunnel out to the woods that was next to the camp there. They kept digging. They managed to smuggle 143 people out of there before it was found.
It was amazing all the tunnels that they dug during the wars because, I mean, I would go through the effort too if I was a prisoner, but yeah, some of them are really elaborate and lengthy.
Well, didn't the film The Great Escape have a story about them tunneling
Yes.
out of a POW camp? Yeah.
Right, which was based on a true story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
which
did-
was a cool film, too.
Yeah, and they just dispersed the dirt by hiding it in their pant legs there, and
Yep.
taking it out as walking around the camp there, so there's no obvious pile of dirt.
That
Exactly.
is the story that The Great Escape was centered on, or
Right, yeah.
based
What?
on.
Great Escape is a really enjoyable film.
Yeah,
like,
one
Good
thing.
film.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry,
we can.
Mr. Racket,
Yep.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My avatar wasn't showing anything there. Speaking of The Great Escape, one thing that they didn't show in the movie that the prisoners were, as far as disposing the dirt, the Germans built them a theater, and to do their little theatrical productions and stuff. And they pulled up, the prisoners pulled up one of the seats, and there was a lot of room under that particular building that they could stash all their dirt.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was
Wow.
it was a newer building, and so they didn't have that raised foundation, that they had on the prisoner barracks, where the Germans could simply, crawl under the building and check, for tunneling and other kind of things going on.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
that the theater building didn't have that, so they could easily use that area under the flooring under this particular seat to stash all the dirt.
Right. So here's what we have. They escaped, and I know we had to kind of go through it there, but I thought it was funny that when it came to the point of them digging a tunnel for Dr. Smith, who's the one person that didn't want to help and pitch in on the digging? Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith.
Right. And it's like I would have told him, well, yeah, I guess you're not getting out then, because if you don't dig, you're not getting out. But of
Yeah,
course,
his
it was true to the character, though,
his back was feeling rather delicate that night.
that day. By the way, Stone Racket, I
Yeah.
don't know, because you obviously you read the same books I did for Lost in Space by Mark Cushman. So you read that to where Jonathan Harris actually did have a bad back in real life. So that was the inspiration. And he
Yeah,
wore back
yeah,
brace
he
on the
did,
set.
but it still bugs me with my friend Mr. Nobody. They still should have done what they originally planned to do, where Smith is hanging from on the edge of that cave in.
Oh yeah.
And they should have simply shown Jonathan Harris, in a close up, and just had a stunt double kind of hanging there. And they could have easily done things so that he wouldn't have to strain his back at all. And I guess they just didn't want to take the time or the money to modify that particular part of the set for that. But I thought it would be really easy to make it so easy, much easier on Jonathan Harris, so he wouldn't have to strain his back at all, but still make it look more, he's just laying there, and all
Right.
Angela Cartwright does is tug on his belt a little bit. It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. That's the
But
only.
they did give him something for the pain. Now he's got alcohol.
Well, there you go.
But that's the first thing he does. He does escape, dig under the tunnel or under the wall, and the first thing he starts doing is boozing it up.
Yep.
And it seems to have quite the wide variety of liquors there.
Or
Quite a
something.
variety. Yeah. But
And
yeah,
it's
I
funny
mean,
because it's almost like he's drinking because he knows they're going to calling him eventually.
well, the thing is, the Robinsons are still in hot water, and here's Smith, taking another shot, and it's like, come on, Smith. I mean, suck it up and, just face your music, buddy.
I know, but
Yeah.
of course he's not going to do that on his own. It's going to take some coaxing.
I thought this sequence was just a little superfluous. It's like, okay, let's give some extra stuff for our little trio here that'll take over the show with Robot, Smith, and Will. But this scene right here, where the robot takes things into his own claws, so to speak, to force Smith to get back, that made it worth it.
Yeah,
Yes, they
right.
did.
The
Yeah.
robot is really parental
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, it was a great scene. I love
Yeah,
that
it-
scene when the robot grabs Smith and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, it made it worth it. It made that whole crazy escape attempt worth it.
If
One of
Smith
the
is
best
going to act
scenes,
like
yeah.
a toddler running
Great
away
scene.
from his problems.
Yeah, I'm gonna carry you back, you baby.
It was a really awesome scene. Yeah.
Yep.
The only weird part is that they're acting like Will isn't right there and can't hear anything because it's like, if you don't do this, Will's gonna lose his respect for you. And he's like, "What? I've already lost my respect for him. I
Right,
used to hear
what
everything
respect?"
is happening right here."
Yeah, I'm still here, robot, says Will.
So Dr. Smith agrees to go with them reluctantly, but he does agree. And of course, he's making it look like it's some grand sacrifice.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you if you had that quote. Yes, you do.
There
Far
it is.
better place. There we go.
It
Another
is a far,
great
far
line from
better
Star
thing.
Trek.
Mhm.
Yes.
Far
And much
better
more-
resting place that I go
right,
to
and-
than I've ever known.
And it was done much more nobly on Star Trek, I have to say.
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, I loved how Star Trek would always use references like that in various episodes, but it was nice to see it for a change in a Lost in Space episode too.
Yep.
And of course that great line, "Never fear, Smith is here."
And when you know that, you know everything's gonna go wrong when you hear that.
Oh yeah. So now they did return to the Jupiter too, and just in time because the tribunal is now requesting to see Dr. Smith.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention when John Robinson and Don, when they appear at the tribunal, and also the what's this? Okay, when the tribunal communication device, when that first is activated earlier in the episode,
Uh-huh.
they all these scenes I just described, they all play a particular piece of music. And I was going to ask Jill what that piece of music is originally from.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the theremin music that they play when they first appear in the tribunal, and also when the communication device first starts to speak, it starts playing that music with the
Tell me.
theremin, and it's by Bernard Herrmann.
From the day the Earth stood still.
That's right. It's from the day the Earth stood still. Okay, Pop. Now, what sequence in the day Earth stood still is it from?
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in such a long time.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's right when Drew Pearson is saying, "Every eye, every weapon is trained on the ship. It's been that way for 2 hours, and the tension is just beginning. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening." And the ship starts to open. It starts playing that particular piece of music. And they
Very
quote it
cool.
here numerous times in this particular episode. And I thought that was really, really
Yeah.
cute.
Thank you
Well,
for
isn't
sharing
that-
that.
Isn't that the scene where Klaatu comes out of the ship?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's plays, the music plays as the ship opens up, and then
Mhm.
it continues on as Klaatu comes out, and we
That's
visit you in peace and
that's a
goodwill.
great use of music, that scene. It really is a great
Yeah.
use of music.
Yeah, it was really
Bernard
cool.
Herrmann, though. I love Bernard Herrmann's. I mean, he did so many fantastic musical scores. I mean, he's one of my favorite, composers for sure.
They used his music from three different 20th Century Fox movies in the the original pilot, No Place to Hide.
Oh, okay.
And they actually used it quite frequently throughout Lost in Space.
Yeah, and every single time they show the jetpack, they play a particular piece of music from Bernard Herrmann, and that's a piece of music called "The Marker," which is from the score from Beneath the 12-Mile Reef.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And of course, the connection is 20th Century Fox. They owned
You got it. They owned
all
it,
that. Yeah,
and they could
owned Lost
reuse
in
it.
Space, right.
Oh, did you, when you covered the first episode, did you talk about the fact that Jonathan Harris had claustrophobia and he could not be inside that where the chair rolls out?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. We
Yeah,
did,
and
actually.
it's a dude wearing a Jonathan Harris mask. When it first rolls out.
Yeah.
Well, it was the same thing a few episodes ago where he was supposed to be in the spacesuit and he went out into space where he didn't want that helmet on. So they
Right.
took the back out of the helmet.
Yeah, they cut the back out. Yeah.
So here's where we have they're watching let's say Smith is testifying. And here's where they get to the bottom of this and they find out and realize now you guys have to remember now up to this point, the Robinsons are still not quite 100% aware of what Smith did at the beginning. So it's too bad the Robinsons didn't get to see this sequence. Because this is exactly, step what he did at exactly launch plus 8 hours, inertial guidance systems destroy, and all that stuff. The Robinsons still don't quite know the extent of what happened during then. during that part of the mission.
Yeah, and that Dr. Zachary Smith was helping out the communists.
Right. Aeolus 14 Umbra, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And here's where we get the realization, of course, Smith realizes that what he has done has been revealed. And now he's basically turning on full panic mode.
Yep.
And here's what's interesting too is I hadn't realized that apparently all those creatures are supposed to be in the dark. That Dr. Smith cannot see them. So he asked them to turn the lights on pretty much so he could see who's around him.
I'll be right back.
Go for it, Jill. And then,
Okay.
of course, when he sees that all the evidence is pointing against him, he attempts to try to come up with his own manipulative plot. And when he does, of course, the mind device just shows static because it's not going to show a lie.
Yep.
All right. So let's catch up on chat while we're waiting for Jill here.
Thank you.
Taylor gives us the turquoise waving guys. LOL. Then Stone Racket here gives Taylor Swift some cookies. And Taylor Swift says, "Yay! Just had some Stone Racket."
That sounds yummy. I'll take cookies.
Cookies.
He
Yay.
says, "Was the music from the day that the Earth stood still?"
Yep.
Yep,
Yes,
you got that
indeed.
right. You got that right.
Very, very distinctive music, and it's the best use of a theremin. It's just brilliant.
And it's cool. You can buy a theremin on Amazon relatively cheaply.
Yeah, I've got a couple different versions, or excuse me, a couple different editions of that release of the original score.
Oh, nice.
All right. Geek says, "My dad was in Washington, D.C. when they were filming The Day That the Earth Stood Still."
Sweet.
Wow, they actually filmed it on location. Nice. That's
Yeah,
rare these
there's a
days.
lot of location shots in there, which is really cool.
Now you know that it was based loosely on a true story of when UFOs flew over the White House, right?
Well, it's based on Farewell to the Master. It's a short,
the short story. But
but
there
what?
was an event where UFOs flew over the White House.
Well, there was like 5 of them, I think, and that was in wasn't that in like 48 or 49 or
Yes.
yeah.
They were
So
showing
it was when Truman was president, right?
yes, they were showing. I mean, of course, we don't know what they were doing, but I think they were showing us that we don't have anything compared to them. That they can do whatever they want anytime they want.
Who are you referring to?
Whoever that was, let's just say whoever it was that flew over the White House, I think it was a show of force. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but
And
who?
that's what
Because
led directly to Majestic 12 and Eisenhower, which is a whole different story. I want to cover that on one of my Saturday streams.
Well, I know a lot of that. The UFO sightings were started after the war, but that's when all those top secret programs and
Yes.
special aircraft and even saucer shaped things they were experimenting and then we learned in the early 50s about the flying wing.
Yep.
But if someone saw that in 47, for instance, they'd think, what the heck is that, UFO?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was that was around the time where we started recovering downed craft. So that's what influenced a lot of what we did.
All right.
And this is the scene I mentioned earlier that I liked as a kid, and it still makes me laugh. Where when they called Dr. Smith, when they showed the clip from the derelict, where they said that you awakened the bubble creatures, and he said, "Well, it was just some slimy, ugly creature." And then the light comes on for the judges. Well, the slimy, ugly creature is me.
Yeah, he's one of those bubble creatures.
Right, one of those bubble creatures.
But
And it's funny because they didn't give it an alien name.
Yeah.
They called it the production name because when you look through the production of the episode of the derelict, that's what they actually call those on set. What they call the monsters. We'll just call them bubble creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for this episode, instead of giving them a name, which they could have easily done, they just called them bubble creatures.
Well, it does call him Judge Ico here or whatever. So
Yeah, Judge Ico
No, that's the name of
has
the judge.
yeah, Judge Ico has learned to speak English and instead of communicating with electric sparks.
Electric
I-
Sparks, right.
I do agree, though. That is probably one of my favorite scenes in the episode because it's totally hilarious. Like Smith
And
just blows it there.
Yeah, completely.
Well,
guys,
okay,
just
but
a
the
sec,
only
just a
English he ever heard was from Will. So did he learn English from
Alright.
Will?
All right, just a sec. Have a good night, Christine.
Good night,
good night,
Christine.
Christine.
And-
Have a great night.
And Pop's dog says good night as well.
Yes. Right. Rocky said good night, Christine. And I want to highlight before I forget is funny and excellent is how I would describe Jonathan Harris's acting in this episode. The look on his face, and I love they had a close up where he's getting caught in these lies, and he's got the shifty eyes looking left and right, and he knows he's been caught. I just found it absolutely entertaining.
Well, Harris was a darn fine actor. Like, I mean, sometimes it's easy to, criticize the character and forget about how good the actor portraying Smith is. But
Yes.
Jonathan is an awesome actor. He really is.
Take them away. Take them away.
Right,
I just love too the
monster
bubble.
again.
The bubble creature in color is so awesome with that blue eye. It's like I just
Yeah.
loved it.
But he also has a red eye on the side there.
Oh gosh, I must have missed that. Darn.
Yeah, there's a flashing red thing on his.
Right,
He
Yeah.
does. He does feel a bit smaller than he did on the derelict.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
He's not one of them that was on the derelict. He's just of that kind.
of the race, right?
Yeah, of that same kind of alien.
And,
He's
and
cool-
I
cool
have to
looking,
say, it's nice. It's nice that they pulled some of these aliens back because the last time we saw them, they were
Yeah.
all black and white. So now
Yeah.
we can see them in full color.
Nice to see the
Yeah.
spider again too. That's cool.
Yeah. And he's just balanced on a rock. I would hope he would have a little more support than that.
He's not using his legs too much. That's for
No.
sure.
He
So
does
here's-
wiggle them a little bit,
He does.
especially when Dr. Smith is caught in all his lies.
It's very animated.
Uh-huh.
And here's where we have back at the Robinson camp, where they decided to come up with the idea to declare Smith insane. So they're and that's because think about that mirrors today when somebody has some really heavy charges against them. That's one of the first things they'll try is the insanity plea. And of course, Dr. Smith is taking offense to this originally until he does realize also that it may be his only chance of getting away
Yeah.
with it.
Once Don tells him, yeah, who knows what they're going to do? They may torture you.
Right, the torture, and that's
He's
what,
like,
right.
And Don's
Yeah.
probably thinking, "Gee, don't sign it, Smith. Don't sign it. Don't sign it."
Right.
Yeah, right. Don't sign it. I want to. I want.
The
I want to
universe
see him
thinks
right
that I'm
through a wreck.
insane.
Don't sign it. I
That's
want to see him
bad
right through a
timing.
wreck.
what was that, Jill?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My phone went off.
Oh, okay.
Go
Ah,
ahead, Grilla.
I want to see him ran through a wreck. Come on, don't sign it. I want to see him ran through a wreck. I was actually surprised they actually talked Don into it. I want to see more of that conversation, how they talked Don into signing it.
I have a feeling they didn't mention whose idea it was, but it may have been Maureen's idea. She sounds like the one that would come up with it.
Professor Robinson.
Yeah.
The acting for
Yeah.
the
Oh, that's
line.
true.
I
or
thought it was
that.
Professor Robinson, or maybe it was both John and Maureen together. I don't know.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where, like we mentioned earlier in the stream, where they do realize that Smith is basically slowly losing his marbles, and they're almost treating him like
Oh,
he's a child.
This is just gold,
And
comedy
here
gold.
we get, right. Here we get with the robot is mirroring his actions as he's pacing.
And then
back
he
forth
even
with his-
does the bah thing, and
Oh, I love the robot character.
yeah, he's one of the very, very best robots of all time.
yeah, I
More
think
coffee.
B9's probably my favorite all-time robot. Actually, I mean, there's a lot of cool robots, but he's so cool.
Yeah, I like Robot Maria in Metropolis.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, yes.
which is just that's an awesome design.
especially
that is.
for the time.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and then Robbie the robot in
Robbie, of
Forbidden
course.
Planet,
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
designed by the same Robert Kineshota,
Uh-huh.
designed Robot B9 and Robbie.
And just like a lot of the other props from Lost in Space, the robot costume was eventually discarded, discovered, restored.
Yep.
So now it sits in pristine condition.
And restored so he can make an appearance in Gremlins.
I think God Joe Dante was a fan.
Yeah. And he also had the time machine in that scene from
Yes, yes, you're right.
and then it disappears. It's like, oh, the guy sitting in it went back in time.
And this is funny too. What's Dr. Smith's sentence? He's got to take orders from the robot. So the robot is basically his guardian from this point forward.
Yeah, and then I wish they had followed with the "You will not speak until spoken to." Oh, that would have been
Right.
that would have been awesome.
As Dr. Smith would say, the indignity of it all.
Yeah.
You
Go
go
to
to
bed
bed
early,
early,
work hard, and speak only when spoken to. Oh,
Yeah, I think-
all the things that's against his character, right?
I think working hard would have been Smith's biggest fear, actually.
Only one serving of dinner, no seconds, right?
yeah.
Well, just 3 seconds later, he's taking a nap, so things haven't
Right.
changed.
Right. Right back to the same old Smith.
It's like, hey, the robot's forgotten his orders already. Gosh.
Well, he's busy teaching the children here.
I guess so.
Right. The robot is teaching, and Dr. Smith, of course, is jealous because he was not designated as the instructor.
Tiresome thesaurus.
Right. And we get our first introduction, and I say first because we will see it again, of the Galactic Mail Order Machine.
Yeah, it's like,
I thought it was a replicator.
It's like, come on, Dr. Smith. It's an alien device. Do not touch it.
Right.
Smith never learns.
Well,
Never.
especially when it starts acting crazy, making all these noises. It's like,
Yeah.
reverse what you just did.
Yeah. Warning, warning.
So Dr. Smith thinks they stumble across this machine, by the way. And what Dr. Smith thinks is it's an art generator. And he thinks by pushing the buttons, it's basically reproducing art. I guess similar to like AI, I guess you could say. But then that's when the robot goes off and crazy and says, warning, warning.
Even just like in a fancy printer, even like,
Right. This is their version of a space age series.
Gregarious gremlin.
Right.
And
you
of course,
you just press this orange button and
And I mean, I don't think the robot or the kids warned him to cease and desist at all, did they? They just let him go ahead and do what
it
he
was
does.
it was just the robot, wasn't it?
The robot warned him verbally, but didn't try to stop him physically.
Always heed the robot's warnings.
Right. And even if Will and Penny spoke up, would it make a difference?
No, it wouldn't. And then
so-
we got our alien for next week.
Yes.
Do we continue next week, same time, same
channel?
She's been transported.
It's more of a transporter machine then, actually.
Yeah, it's
Well, no, it's
a
a catalog. It's a catalog. You select the item you want to
Yeah.
order, and then push order.
So
Yep.
there's your Dawson Palmer as
Mhm.
Monster.
as monster.
Oh, cool.
Credit.
There, finally,
Nice.
he deserved it too. About time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And we get our closing credits. Oh my goodness! I forgot to put a poll in the chat. I just realized. Okay, everybody in
Man,
the
that's
chat.
a little late.
I know. I always put a poll and I forgot. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Mm.
And I even had an additional 30 minutes. I should have done it. So shame on me. But
Yeah.
everybody in the chat, please feel free to give us your grade in the chat, A, B, C, D, or
Yeah.
F. What
All
do
right.
you think about this stream? And then we'll go around and we'll get everybody's review of everyone on the panel here. I'm so sorry, everybody. I apologize.
All right. Welcome to Man of Many Words, Cody Guy.
Hail, Cody Guy. Cody Guy is waving. Good to see you there.
Hey, Cody.
So let's start with, I usually go clockwise, so why change it now? I'm going to start with Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Gorilla, what grade would you give this episode? And tell us about your
It's total
channel.
F. Total F. Nah, but
Total F.
I don't know. Like
No
the
redeeming qualities?
well, the clips, I wish they would just showed us like deleted scenes, stuff we haven't seen already.
Okay.
Because that's the one fallback on clip shows, and every other clip show that I know, everybody's always complaining about them. So why would this one get any? But some of the some of the props did not hold up to time either. I don't know if they weren't expecting us to have high definition TVs or not, or if it looked better on an old console TV, like the Saran wrap.
The force field.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool that we had some. Every alien was non-human, and they did do callbacks to other ones there. So I'm gonna give this one a B plus. It will have gotten higher if they will showing us deleted scenes and stuff we've already seen.
Gotcha.
Hey, welcome, Mad Scientist.
Hello, Mad Scientist. Good buddy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well and staying warm.
Hey, Mad Scientist.
Thank you.
Hello.
And Gorilla, what about your channel? Tell us something about your channel.
Oh, I got some more shorts coming out. I just released a couple shorts that I've taken off this week here. That's pretty good. One was sitting at 14K, but otherwise we're watching 2 more episodes of Justified on Wednesday, episodes 5 and 6 of season 4. Cringe Stock, we're watching The Creeping Terror. And then on Friday, we're reviewing the episode The Graduation. And Saturday, we should be reviewing Return to the Lost World. Then Sunday, we are watching, was it Fury Road?
I believe
For
so.
Mad Max?
Yep.
Yeah. And Jill, you're welcome to come join us for Cringe Stock on the panel. I don't know if your brain's healed from last
I
one,
understand.
but
I don't know. I might be busy, so
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
It is technically sci-fi though, Jill, so you might enjoy it, and it's really bad. So.
Yeah, I know, but I've got to prepare for stuff and things.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I
we
probably
got to
won't be
do
able to.
Buckaroo, don't we?
yeah,
Mhm.
her,
Yeah,
her
I got
brain's still
Buckaroo.
her brain's still healing from the last one.
I think mine is too, actually, girl.
That
I'm
was
just
a
trying
traumatic
to excise
experience.
it. I'm just trying to excise it from my memory.
There you go. And what about okay, is there anything else you want to share, Gorilla? Is that it?
Nope, just I'll keep an eye out for more shorts and maybe an open panel or 2 if I have time.
Well, thank you for helping me out tonight, Gorilla. And it was so good
Yeah,
to
no
see
problem.
you, buddy.
Yeah.
Stone Rack, what say you? What grade would you give this? And is there anything you want to share about your channel?
Well, first off, I'm going to give an automatic F to Gorilla for saying the forbidden words. And and
Which forbidden word? Which forbidden words?
I can't say them. No, Saran wrap.
Yeah, the force field.
Yeah.
I for
Well,
this in the chat I already gave the grade for this stream, which is A plus 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 plus.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just love being here and thank you for having me on the panel, Pops.
Yeah.
And
Always my pleasure. Good to
it's
have you here.
it's a joy to talk about this classic show that I watched as a child. And for this episode, like I said earlier, this is my favorite Lost in Space second season episode, and so I give it an A. I thought the balance of drama and comedy was perfect. I really enjoyed the performances of the robot and Smith. Usually, Jonathan Harris kind of annoys me, but in this episode, he was just a lot of fun. There really wasn't anything, that was cringeworthy. I just thought a lot of the comedy really worked with him. And I guess the only drawback to this episode, as mentioned by Jill and others, was the fact that the female characters, had hardly anything to do at all. That's the only drawback I can see with this episode.
Very
But
cool.
overall, high marks. And I don't have a channel. I'm not a content creator, but you can find me on Twitter at Largo6583. I'm a cat person, so I follow a lot of cat people on Twitter. And I can be found at the Blu-ray.com forum. That's BLU-ray.com. I post there occasionally on their forums, where my two cats, Chico and Harpo, are stars. They insist that I post pictures of my cats along with my Blu-ray purchases, especially in the Kino Lorber discussion thread.
Very cool. And thank you for being with us tonight. I really do appreciate
Oh yeah,
it.
thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to Jill's Star Trek stream tomorrow.
Oh
'Cause-
yeah,
'cause
right
we're-
after this, I'm going to.
Yeah,
work on
we're it's one of my top 10 third season favorites, and it
cool.
features the very lovely Lee Meredith,
Lee Merriweather.
Lee Merriweather.
Yes,
Excuse me.
No,
I'm
it's fine.
old.
Miss America.
Yeah, Miss
I love
America 54, 53, 54.
I
something
had
like
a
that.
big crush on her when I was a kid.
Yeah, she played Anne McGregor on Time Tunnel.
Yep, and she played Betty Jones on Barnaby Jones.
Yeah, the Barnaby Jones series.
And we didn't
Which-
mention Catwoman on Batman.
And Catwoman in the first Batman movie from '66.
Absolutely.
Because Julie Newmar was not available.
She was really good in Time Tunnel. I gotta say, I really liked her in Time Tunnel a lot.
But she was the skeptic during the Walls of Jericho. The episode with the Walls of Jericho. She just couldn't accept that it was a miracle. So
Okay,
I was
forget
like,
individual-
come on.
Oh yeah, I remember the series. It's the individual episodes that are a little fuzzy because I haven't watched that show in like 30 years or something.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's one of my favorite episodes on the Time Tunnel.
There's a lot of good ones, actually. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag, like a lot of Irwin Allen. It has some really great episodes and it has some not so great episodes, but overall, it's a fun show.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate you sharing that with us. And Antiderivative Jill, what say you? What would you grade this episode? And tell us about your channel.
Well, I'm not going to say this is as good as the Menagerie or anything, but I did think about it. Spock was guilty for a good reason and isn't charged, and Dr. Smith was guilty for all the wrong reasons, for all bad reasons, and isn't charged.
Yes.
So, yeah, the not guilty for reasons of insanity is completely hilarious, and I like it even better after hearing that it's part of his character growth, and they're trying to inject it here in that way.
Oh.
That's very creative to explain what's been going on with him.
Oh,
And it's good to know that the galaxy government considers a criminal state of mind, just like we do. But who exactly is the Galaxy Tribunal? I don't know. And since the episode doesn't care, I guess I don't either.
The Galaxy Tribunal of Justice.
I'm guessing I'm guessing it may be similar to, or might be their version of Starfleet, where it's a
well,
coalition
no,
of a
it
bunch of planets and beings.
Then it would be the Federation.
oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
oh! I want to add two things to my review here after Jill's done.
Okay. Anyway, how could a crew be expected to follow the laws of a government that they're not even citizens of? They're just lost in space. They're just like they accidentally got there, and so it's just like being mad at a lost child who's just like can't figure out where they are.
Well,
I'm not
and they
sure,
do
but this.
state, Judge Iko does explain in the episode, ignorance of law is no excuse. So it
Mhm.
is similar to our law.
Well, even still, though, I don't know. It's strange. But this
Yes.
episode is jazzy. It's adorable. The only aspects that made no sense was why the robot would help Smith escape. Only the drag him back anyway. The dragging back part was great. The letting him escape, odd. I like PvP's idea that it was to make things worse. But that
That's what I figured. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
did give a nice moment for Will to show that he's willing to take risks to help his family. And but it's really great to surround the episode with the clips from some of my favorite episodes of season 1. And so it gave it more weight. It didn't just feel like a clip show. The clips had meaning and purpose. They were to show the crimes of the Robinsons. So I only don't like clip shows when they're just shown to fill up time.
Yeah. They were well integrated.
Mm-hmm. One of the coolest aspects, and I wish it would be a lasting nature, but I don't expect it to be, is that Smith is going to be given over to the robot. But now because before that, Smith had he gave himself a rank. It was a self-given rank over the robot. He's like, I rank over you. But now those roles are reversed. Does that mean the robot will have more of a conductive presence over Smith when he tries any future scams? I'd like to see if this comes up at least a few times.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it's prognosis very doubtful. It's like,
Don't hold your breath, I guess.
yeah, don't.
Oh, well, it was fun to see anyway.
Yes. And
Do
how
give
about
it an
your channel?
A if I haven't said. And my channel is Antiderivative Jill. I like to explore and celebrate science fiction, and tomorrow I'll continue doing that with Star Trek the Original Series episode That Which Survives. And so we'll check that out. And on Friday we're going to figure out what's the deal with the watermelon in Buckaroo Banzai
I know.
and other things. Oh, well, don't tell us now.
I will not tell. I am looking forward to your theory, and hopefully, Tiger Stripes will be there to tell us her theory.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
I have not
that'll be
seen
good.
it.
I hope
I have not seen it since it aired, so I'm not up to date as I should be. So I'll be in the chat.
For what? For
Buckaroo
Friday?
Banzai.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And
Is it a
that's
show
it.
or a movie?
It's a movie.
It's a
It's a
movie.
movie.
That's at noon Central Time, right, Jill?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's all I had for today. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, Jill, it's always my pleasure. You're the highlight of the evening. Thank you for the great job on the slides as well.
Yeah,
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Jill, you're so good at all the slides for Lost in Space and Star Trek. It's just you
She
do a
knows-
superb job. It's just
Right,
awesome.
and she knows exactly which scenes to capture too.
Yeah,
So
Well,
yeah,
sure.
it's amazing.
you
I
have
did-
a knack. You'd make a great film editor.
Oh, thank you. Because I did find a website that has all the slides, but they have like hundreds of slides. It's like every clip, and I was like, I can't use this. There's too many. So I knew I had to clip it down, and thank you.
All right. Oh, the two things I forgot to mention. One thing is that I think every science fiction show always forgets, and they brought it up this episode, was the bacterial on the wrench there that they left floating in space. There could cause havoc on anyone's ecosystem or anyone who came across it. That's something that's usually overlooked. I like that a lot.
Oh, okay.
And then also, Dr. Smith punishment. I was praying that he'd get racked, but he got even a worse punishment, which made me happy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
glad to hear that.
The robot is now his guardian because he's mentally challenged.
Yes.
Can't think for
And,
himself anymore. No more
Yeah, it's-
decision making for you.
Yeah, it's quite a
Correct.
change from their relationship in the first season and the opening, where it's like we can't trust this robot because Smith has tinkered with it.
Well, it was funny in this episode. It was a funny line that went by where he said, "Just wait till I stop oiling him; he'll squeak a different tune."
That's right.
Oh,
So
gosh.
yeah, I thought that was hilarious. PvP, what say you about this episode?
Well, I really like this one. After the last couple of episodes, which I was less than enthusiastic about after watching them, this is definitely a huge jump up in quality, thank goodness. Because let's face it, I mean, season 2 does kind of start off a little bit weak for the most part. So it was nice to finally get a good, solid, enjoyable episode. Basically, good story, well written. You know, Smith was awesome again. It was nice to see him getting a little more sinister again instead of just being the clown that he's been in recent episodes. So that was fun. The robot lines were great. I mean, the robot interaction with Smith is really starting to take off at this point in the series now, and it just continues to get better as the show goes along, which is a lot of fun. The Tribunal was cool. I liked all the different aliens. I like seeing the giant spider. I like seeing our bubble alien from early in season 1. That was cool. I like the chair where they put everybody in to read their thoughts so they could tell they were actually being truthful and not trying to lie. That was kind of a cool little thing. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good episode. My one criticism is that the ladies once again didn't get to do a whole heck of a lot in this episode. Like, they were mostly relegated to the background again, so that wasn't so much fun. But yeah, a good one. I'll guess I'll keep it brief because everybody else has probably already covered most of the things I was thinking about. I would give this one an A minus because it's a solid episode. I just knock it down a little bit because there are other episodes in the series that I like more, and
What?
I do think there are better episodes to come in season 2, but that's
Okay.
my opinion.
Oh yeah.
There's some really good robot episodes coming up later in season 2, which I really, really, really like. So those might be a
Mhm.
little bit higher rated, but yeah, this is a
Yeah.
good, solid episode, very entertaining, and yeah, there's nothing much I can fault. Good story, good writing. I mean, the direction was solid, and it was nice to be using clips from season 1 to introduce people that maybe missed season 1, giving them a little bit of the backstory. And yeah, I mean, for a clip show, most clip shows, I mean, can get so bogged down showing clip after clip that they just basically don't have anything original going on. Whereas this one used the clips sparingly enough where it actually worked. So yeah, good, solid episode. I'll give it an A minus.
Very cool. And tell us about your channel.
Not much to say. I just keep working on my playlists. Still got one I'm kind of fine tuning that hopefully I will get up sometime later in the week and make it public. But other than that, not a whole lot to say at the moment, Pop. So and that's about it, I guess, really.
Well, thank you for being here with us, PvP. I appreciate your input.
No, it's always nice to be here on the panel. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys. So I'm always honored to actually be included on the panel here.
Well, the feeling is mutual, sir.
Oh, thank you.
And
Ditto
I
for
will say,
me.
Well,
I'm
thank
going
you,
to give the
guys.
episode an A as well. I enjoyed it. I like the interaction, not only between Will and between Dr. Smith and the robot, but I really appreciate the growth of the robot, the humor, and like I mentioned earlier, the writer knows how to write for the robot. I was disappointed too the way the women were handled. It's always cringe when I hear one of them offering coffee, like nobody can get it themselves. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I don't understand that. So I've never ever given somebody an order unless I'm at a restaurant. I've never given somebody an order to refill my cup. When you go to the kitchen and give me more coffee, I can never find myself doing that to another human being. So for me, it's just like I'm hardwired totally against that. But that's a nitpicking thing. Um, the writing was good, and like you guys have mentioned, it is a highlight for season 2. It's great to see finally the Robinsons aren't brought completely aware to Smith's dastardly deeds, but for us, the audiences, we see finally he gets his comeuppance because that was always left open. Where obviously he was never uh, came to terms with it and never accused of it by a higher being, and that finally does happen, which is a nice thing to do. It would have been what would have been great, I think, would similar like what Star Trek would have done the episode Arena, and that is whenever somebody was on the tribunal and they were testifying, it would have been nice if the Robinsons back at camp were somehow watching the whole thing on a monitor, and that it would have been interesting to see how they handled the full reveal of what exactly Dr. Smith did and the depth of which he sank those first few episodes. Because I
Yeah,
really don't think that they totally comprehend how evil he was, because he lied to them immensely and got away with a lot of those lies.
yeah, that would have changed the whole dynamic.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
Yeah, I mean that would kind of end the series because I think they'd probably banish Smith if they learned the whole truth.
Would they still have considered him insane? Would they still consider him so mentally off balance that he's not responsible for his actions? That would have been nice to cover that base, right?
Well, yeah, that you have a point there. Maybe they could have rationalized it like that. But yeah, it's that would be really. I mean, if I was part of that crew and I saw the whole truth behind Smith, I would never be able to forgive him.
Yep. But of course, they only had an hour.
Yeah.
So, we're not exactly, it's not the menagerie. We're not going to get a 2-part episode revolving around this, obviously. So,
Yeah.
but I do like the way they handled it. Like I said, I like the script, the humor. There was a lot of laugh out loud scenes, which I really appreciate these days. It's hard to get good humor like that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I really appreciate Jonathan Harris's acting when he was when he was testifying on the podium, and the look on his face, like I said, the shifty-eyed look when he was being called out for his lies. I really did appreciate that. And like I said, I'd give it an A. My channel, tomorrow night, we're going to be covering Dracula, Prince of Darkness with Christopher Lee. Wednesday night, we're going to be back into season 3 of Gilligan's Island. We'll be back with 2 more episodes of that, which I'm excited to do. And then Saturday, hopefully, we'll be back with another stream of rumblings from the lab. But it was really, really amazing and great to see all you guys tonight, and especially all you guys on the panel that helped me out. And I know since I forgot to post the poll in the chat, I asked everybody if they would be gracious enough to put their ranking in the chat and that we would read them out. Gorilla, can you help me with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. I know you're tired. I'm sorry, dude. Poor Gorilla has to work tomorrow, everybody. That's why I try to keep these weeknight streams kind of short.
Let's see. Just heard Christina said she had to go. Stoner or Geek here says it was 1952 when the UFO flew over the Capitol.
Thank you. Yes. I didn't think I was imagining things. Thank you.
This is Corey White waving. Stoner actually gave this an A, the stream an A plus, plus, an A for the Lost Space episode. And Bass Isaac says, "Hi, beautiful people, just dropping by to show some love. Have a great night." You have a great night there. And Scurvy is dropping stuff here, saying hi to Cook. The giant spider was even in Gilligan's Island, says Geeks. That's everything.
Yeah, I just got a text from John Peters. He gives kudos to the giant spider in this episode. That's a joke.
Well, the thing is, I'd have to know who John Peters is.
John Peters was the one that kept insisting Kevin Smith put a giant spider in his script for Superman Lives.
Oh God!
No.
Yeah, and when Kevin Smith was tolerable. There's a talk, you can find it on YouTube, where he talks about working with John Peters on the script for Superman Returns and the whole giant spider thing. He wanted Superman to fight a giant spider and Brainiac to fight polar bears and just a lot of silliness. And Kevin Smith ends his talk with, I watched the film of Wild Wild West, which John Peters helped produce, and he goes, by golly, he had a giant spider in there.
And it was an immense disaster.
It was an immense disaster. Yeah. It was a mechanical spider. I never watched the movie, but I do know about that.
Well, the effects were okay, but the movie was so god awful. Well, put it this way, it starred Will Smith, so I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never wanted to watch that movie because as a huge fan of the original TV show Wild Wild West, I just thought I saw clips of it and it just looks so ridiculous.
It was a disgrace.
It was like a comedy. And it's like, don't turn Great Wild Wild West into a comedy, guys, because it was never. I mean, it had its humorous aspects, of course, like a lot of '60s shows, but it was never intended to be like an outright silly comedy.
Just
right, but once again, it was Will Smith not playing James West, the agent, but it was Will Smith playing Will Smith as usual. Right. That's all he can do.
Just give me the Wild Wild West revisited with the original stars.
Yes.
Yeah, that's much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
I loathe Will Smith. Absolutely abhor him. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, I never got the old why Will Smith is so, well, he was so big. I guess he's maybe not now, but I never got the popularity for him because
he appealed to a certain demographic.
I guess never appealed to me. Oh
well, we're old fogies.
It's not that they're old fogies. The guy.
I mean, we're classicists. We like more traditional humor and
good acting
and good acting, and instead of just personalities thrown on the screen.
Yeah, intelligent writing, solid direction. Yeah,
you got it.
Stuff. Yeah,
right.
And Robert Conrad. I mean, how can you replace Robert Conrad?
You can't.
Jim West. It's like, come on.
He is fantastic as Jim West.
They could have at least tried, but didn't even bother to have a good actor replace him. Didn't even try.
Yeah, well, Jim West and Artemis Gordon are such, to me, they're
and
a
then
couple
Kevin
of classic
Kline is
characters.
Artemis Gordon. It was like, oh God. Did it get any worse? It's like, let's get Kevin Kline in the movie.
Yeah, wasn't he in drag in one scene or something? I remember seeing a clip of. It's like.
But anyway, yes. So, Gorilla, how are we on the chat?
It looks like we got 3 more. I was just about to say I was going to go to bed.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrap this up as quick as possible. But hang on.
Yeah, I'm probably going to head off soon. I still got to eat, and I think I'm going to go watch Dracula while I'm eating, just so I'm ready for tomorrow night.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Geek gives this episode a 7.
Okay, very cool. So I equate that to maybe a B.
70%.
C.
That's more like a C, isn't it?
C plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Giant spider trivia tonight. You got it.
Yep, you've come to the right place.
And Geek says Robert Conrad was American Jackie Chan. All right, you guys have a good night.
Good night, Gorilla.
Thank you, Gorilla. Have a great night.
Gorilla.
Oh, Stone Racket. If you want to join us, ever want to join us for a cringe stock, you're more than welcome to. We watch bad stuff to make fun of and mock it.
Oh, like MST 3K?
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same idea, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. One caveat though, I do not I don't watch R-rated movies.
Oh no, this one coming up is definitely not R-rated unless you rate it R for being horribly bad.
Well, I meant the traditional R-rated.
No.
I avoid those, especially anything after the early 80s.
Yeah, this is like late 50s, I think, sci-fi. And it's,
what's the movie?
The Creeping Terror.
The Creeping Terror. And what night was that?
Thursday, I think Gorilla said, yeah.
What time? Central time?
Around 8:30.
8:30. Okay. I may join you there.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad film. It's kind of similar to.
Hold on, let's finish this, please, PvP.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Gorilla, hold on, wait. It's only another minute. Let's wrap this up, and I want to show the preview for next week, and that way we can
Sounds
all wrap
good.
this up at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. Game
Sounds
good to
Flag
me.
says good night, Gorilla, and thank you to everybody on the chat. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, when we wrap it up, we mean we need to wrap it up. Sorry,
Sure.
guys.
Yeah, that's cool.
No problem.
Good
All
night.
right. Let me get my video ready here. Bear with me, y'all. And this will be a preview for next week. Of course, it's on my hard drive, so it's got to wake up. So it's like I double click on it, and then it's like. It's like an
Is
old
that
motor.
gift from next week's episode?
Yes, it is. That the
Should be-
Android machine.
The Android machine, and here we go.
Realize that this is a galactic mail order machine.
Do not touch it. It is dangerous.
You won't let them take her, will you?
A bargain's a bargain, some dish.
Run, children, run!